Hey y'all, welcome in. Mind the Monsters here. Sunshine. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for coming in. We're just waiting on Anthony. That would be Etta's father. I sent him the StreamYard link, but those of us that are here from normally being on the streets, if you've ever been on panel, if you've never used a StreamYard link before, sometimes it's a little difficult to get it up and running and working properly. Welcome in, Dandy Linus. Thank you for coming in, love. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. My weekend's going pretty good so far. I got some pretty exciting news that I'll share with you guys privately in Discord. So today we're going to talk about Etta, and hopefully he'll be able to join us live. Like I said, we'll give him a few minutes to get in here and we'll get started. What I'll go ahead and do for anybody that's new to Etta's case is I will go ahead and pull up the news interview that he did with Tampa Bay 10. So that way anybody that's not familiar with her case that might be here today with us is able to kind of get caught up and understand why we're here. On the thumbnail, you guys seen her missing poster. She also has a poster through the Awareness Foundation. I'll be sharing both of those in the live. And thank you for the email last night. I did go ahead and get those flyers sent out so we can get those flyers up in Houston. I appreciate that. Sharing is caring, guys. If you see something, say something. That's the important thing, is making sure that we're getting their faces out there, their stories, and because we never know what's going to help bring our missing home. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up this article. Sorry, it's not an article. This is a interview, and hopefully it'll play better than it did last night. So here, okay, so let's see here. There's Truth Seeker. Welcome in. Runaway Truth. Welcome in. Truth Seeker again. And yeah, here's Anthony. He's in chat. He said, I'm trying the process of getting the link up as it's running. Okay, you're good. You're good. Like I said, the first time using StreamYard's a little weird. What'll happen is you'll pop up in my backstage. Let me know with just a thumbs up that you're good to go. And like I said, you're welcome to turn your camera off if you prefer to, or you can leave your camera on either way. But I'm going to go ahead and share this Tampa Bay 10 while we're waiting on Anthony to get in here with us. Guys, see at the top of the screen, I ask that you please be respectful. I do have Dandy Linus in here, and with FarQ is in Australia, so she knows that we're going live. I'm not sure if she's awake or not, but if she is, she'll be here with us. So is it sharing my screen? It is. Okay, so here is the interview, and this is just so anybody that's not familiar with Etta's case can kind of get an understanding, and then Anthony's going to come up and tell us about Etta.
Dad in Pinellas County is desperate to find his daughter, who disappeared now more than a year ago. 19-year-old Charlesetta Grau, who goes by Etta, hasn't been seen since last September. 10 Tampa Bay's Shannon Clough talked one-on-one with her dad, who is pleading for help to find her.
Like she walked off the face of the world.
Anthony Grau tells me his daughter, Charlesetta Grau, who goes by Etta, was last seen September 2022 here in Pinellas County at the Crosswinds Mobile Home Park, where she was staying with friends.
She got up in the middle of the night and disappeared from this park last September.
Since then, no one has been in contact with her, something her dad says is unusual for his daughter, who is always posting on social media.
For not being on social media, there's something terribly wrong.
He fears without any communication with family or friends, Etta could be in danger.
The concerns are she's no longer with us.
While Etta is 19 years old and technically an adult, the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office issued a purple alert for her because she has a mental disability.
She's got the mentality of a 9 to 11-year-old,
which makes him even more concerned.
I feel my daughter is in danger.
The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office states there have been statements Etta could have traveled to Tennessee, but no evidence to support that. Regardless, her dad searched.
I've already been to Tennessee. I've been to the Carolinas. I've been to Georgia.
He says she's never been off the grid like this.
Never has disappeared before.
Now, with the help from private investigators, his goal is to bring Etta home.
I'd be complete again.
In Pinellas County, Shannon Clough, 10 Tampa Bay.
Investigators with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office say that the case is open and active, so they will not comment on it. But if you know anything about Etta's whereabouts, deputies urge you to contact them.
Okay, guys, so that was the Tampa Bay 10 exclusive that Anthony was able to do, and he's on panel. Like I said, first time coming up, it's a little wonky, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him up, guys. Please be respectful, and we're going to get started, and he's going to tell us about Etta.
Hey guys, so that was the
Welcome in, Anthony.
Tampa Bay 10
Hello there.
exclusive.
How you doing?
Hey.
And
Good, how about you?
So first time coming up, it's a little wonky, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him up, guys. Please be
Do
respectful.
you got YouTube playing in the background on a different app?
Yeah, I got a couple phones. I'm a dad.
Okay. All right. It'll give off just a little bit of an echo, but we're okay. We're good. We're just here to hear your voice.
Yes,
So
that's no
thank
problem.
you for coming up.
That's no problem. I'm turning the other one down. I have my Missing America phone, and I have another phone that's linked to my Facebook app and family.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. I get it. I have my regular phone and then my YouTube phone, which I don't use it very often, so I don't give out the numbers unless it's family. So not much use for it.
The phone that we contact each other on is a different one than my Facebook, but it's a direct line to me, and I respond to that phone immediately.
Right. Yeah. As long as I'm not mixed up with, with my old man or the dogs, I'm pretty quick about responding. So, how are you today?
Well, I'm doing good. Slept a little. Last night I had to get my cat off the roof so we can go run through the streets of St. Pete at night and mingle with homeless and look in areas. You try to mix in so you don't feel like you're out of the area and out of the people you're trying to contact and connect with, which is a lot of the homeless, and they sometimes have information.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes the homeless camps and the homeless, they're great resources because they're the ones that are out there. They're living, the life on the streets, and they can be a great resource, especially if they've seen something or maybe possibly might have the smallest information that may lead to the biggest result.
But yes, Etta's been missing now for about over a year. I connected with somebody a couple days ago, and I'm still going through all the texts that she had in a Facebook Messenger on a deleted account that Etta had, and
Okay.
I'm going to turn them over to Vern and other people. But an address that was in Tennessee, I figured out was a house that was on the market, which is used. The human traffickers and scammers use locations that nobody's living at. They do it for rentals, and they'll do it on commercial properties, real estate, to lure somebody in.
Right.
And nobody's there, so they don't have to worry about if somebody showed up, that some other people are living there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, this dad's gonna find his daughter, and the house was on the market back when approximately she vanished, and that was the address that in them texts that she gave that put a location of Tennessee, but the person she was communicating with was a fake account. I already know that. The Facebook that she used to communicate with this other woman that I've known, she's in her 20s now. I knew her back when she was 16, 17 years old and a pregnant teen. And she put her life together the best she could, and she's doing her best to raise her children with her children's father, so that's a plus in her life. But she reached out and realized she had some information and she got it to me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But it's Etta was back in August communicating to her, and even though Dad didn't approve of it, she felt she was 19 and can go out on her own. But Etta's capacity is approximately anywhere from 9 to 11 years old, even though she's a grown woman, 18 plus. Now she's
Right.
20. And the thing is, the odds are, is she's not on any social media. And in the text it says, I'm happy, I'm deleting my social media. Well, you don't tell your family I love yous. And that was the last message he sent out. And erased your social media. That just doesn't happen. That's not a common thing. That's a flag.
No, it's not
And
common, especially with somebody that's considered a social butterfly and being as young as she is.
yes,
Social media is their connection, and it's very
and that's
concerning.
and that's what I'm aware of is social media is the connection, and you just don't erase your whole life, and even the family that you loved that was up north and your friends, and say I'm happy now. No, that's situation of trafficking. Someone that's very controlling and dominant, and I call them gaslighters, and
Hmm.
they attract people that are more or less weak-minded or easy to be manipulated.
Right. They
And
prey on the vulnerable.
Etta was very vulnerable. That's why Dad was always protective. Even at 18 and 19, I was very protective because I'm 63 years old and I raised two children alone. Well, their mother lost custody. I received custody back in 2008, 2009 out of Pasco County, Florida from Judge Webb. And he come told me to my face in a courtroom that I amazed him even after being thrown pretty much under a rock. I proved to be the opposite of what the mother and the mother's friends were trying to do to me.
Wow.
But yeah, and the thing is, it's originally I went to the St. Pete police, but me and them, which is another complete different story concerning my daughter. But St. Pete police, basically, by me having a past, my children weren't entitled to the same protection that somebody that would not have a past would have, which is wrong. Don't take nothing out of my children because of me. If you got something against me, let it be me, but do your job. But he said she's 19 years old. She can go do what she wants, and she doesn't have to call you.
Yep.
And that's a known fact. Then there's what I call a Jane Doe, who called me numerous times between December and March concerning my daughter. Her comments were, I hope she didn't connect with somebody that I had around my house and something bad happened to her because I could not live with myself. Well, that raises a red flag in Dad's eyes, or pretty much in anyone's eyes, if your daughter's missing and you got somebody trying to tell you they hope nothing happened to them.
Right. It is.
Yeah. And calling me while you're under the influence of something and crying, and there's only so much this dad will tolerate. And in March I tolerated all I could. I pretty much told her off. She called Largo Police, which is here in Florida, and Largo Police turned it over to County Sheriff's Office. But on a missing person, if you disappeared in St. Pete, why are we calling Largo? unless you're trying to veer the police away from your location to begin with. So that's something that Dad's not done with, but that's something Dad will get resolved. But that person's also contacted my niece's daughter, trying to find out everything going on in this case. And my niece's daughter has basically told her that any updates are between the family members involved, and we are not entitled to disclose any information that we have regarding Etta. And it's the same person that was concerned, in her way of, but why she's still worried about it when it's in the police's hands.
Right.
So, yeah.
Lots of red flags.
Yeah, that's a red flag in my eyes, and in even my family's eyes, that, what is her big concern of trying to find out what's going on with the police, and, but what's going on is, I want to know who she may have connected my daughter with, and what happened to my daughter. That's
Facts.
what I want to know. That's the facts. Dad thinks outside the box. I don't think in the box. If you call with suspicion of something, I read it real quick. And that's pretty much left it into the human trafficking business.
Especially when you have somebody going, look, I'm here, but look here. Look over here. Don't look here. Yeah, I got you.
Yes. And that's what linked the sheriffs into it in the purple alert. But it's common in Florida. I don't know about the other states, that if you're 18 or older, if an adult or a young teenager, male or female, disappear, right? They're still a missing person. That in America, they're a missing person. And they don't want to recognize that in Florida. And that's a big red flag in Florida. We're the second or third largest state in the country on human trafficking.
And another thing is Tennessee as well. That's where my son was missing at. And in Tennessee, they're the same way. It's an adult. They have the right over at age 18 to go missing. They don't want to hear about mental health. They don't want to hear about other underlying things that could play in the fact that this person's missing, vanished, gone. You literally have to scream at the top of your lungs, help me. And, we shouldn't have to do that. That's why we need a lot of reform.
Yes. And that's, but in Florida, it's Orlando, and then it leads off into Tampa, which is connected by a bridge into St. Pete, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a big concern, like I said, of they don't want to recognize anyone that's pretty much 18 or older.
Right.
And what was Etta like? She loved everybody. If you met her, she's the kind of person that would help you plant your flowers. She'd draw with chalk on your driveway with the children. She was, like I said, even though she was 19 years old, she was still a little girl. And,
right.
She walked around with a rabbit, right? And a stuffed rabbit, and call it Rabbit. And Rabbit and her would go out, Etta's never driven, and walk around the neighborhood in St. Pete carrying a rabbit. Every day she'd go down and get her something to drink, or at the store, or something to eat, and she'd have the rabbit with her. And that's everybody seen her is pretty much Etta. That's the Etta they knew.
Right.
Yeah. And I knew there was problems, but in the neighborhood she was fairly safe because everybody knew, right, that it was Etta. The neighborhood, she'd go sit in the yard and play with the babies next door, and was friends with everybody. You meet her, she was your friend. There wasn't nothing in her that would ever harm anyone. She loved everybody, and she trusted everybody, which is not actually good.
Yeah. My son, one of my sons, is the same way. He never met a stranger. When he was younger, the first time he done it, it terrified me. My heart stopped. We were at the beach. He was about 4 years old, and he always had long blonde hair. He still does to this day. And a lady walked up to him and she said, "You're the cutest." And he said, he was 4 years old, walked up to her and said his full name. And he looked at her and said, "I'm 19 years old," and told her where he was from. I like to fell over. I was like, no, 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 no. But even to this day, he doesn't meet a stranger, just a very loving, happy person. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yes. And Etta, if you've seen her, you would not believe she was 18, 19, 20 years old. She looks like she's maybe 12, 13 years old, 14 at the most. Even at that age, she very petite, very, no age at her at all. It was like just stuck with natural youngness, which was a downfall when you look at
Right.
what's going on in the
Innocence.
world. Yeah, the innocence, everything was in her. So, and that's where
Bring up some of her
Dad
pictures
is
here.
very was concerned. At my age, I'm not going to live forever. I raised them. I'm in my 60s, and it's the task now of finding her and making sure she's safe.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the game plan, is finding her and making sure she's safe.
Like,
Just a beautiful girl.
yeah. She,
Appreciate it. No, does it work? I like it. Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you so much.
but yeah, it was it's very scary to know that the innocent ones are attracted, but I've seen them do the same thing to grown people
Yep.
as they do the innocent. So, and that there scares me. That there scares me a lot of the people. But with her, if she's not on social media, there's something wrong.
Right. And the pictures we just showed, guys, these are all social media filters. So that's another key point to show that she loved to be on social media, as Anthony's told me, and a few other people that we've communicated with in the background. She was a social butterfly. And,
Yes.
These young kids, that's what they do. That's how they get the connection, especially during the pandemic. That's where our kids still had their connection with their friends and their family, and all of us, even as adults. Where were we at? We were on social media because that's all we had.
Yes. When I grew up, our friends were on bicycles. We went out and rode bikes every day,
Right.
and we
Same.
had fun. And now my son is not, even though he's watching, we're in his disclosed location. He's not a social media person.
Right.
He plays games and he enjoys working like Dad. So it's like night and day between my children. My 17-year-old is pretty much mature like a grown man. He's responsibility, starting his own pressure washing business. He's a workaholic, and then he
Oh,
likes
that's good.
yeah, and then he likes his gaming. Every so often, I repair trailers and flip trailers and repair properties, and he'll come in and do work alongside with Dad, and I don't have to babysit him. He's everything he does, he learned from me, and he's, like I said, it's like working alongside with a grown man.
That's awesome. They sound a lot like my kids.
Yeah. And my daughter, she'd go around before she disappeared, and turn my work truck into a disaster area, but it was her way of helping Dad. But did I ever yell? No, I've never spanked my children.
Right.
I get upset with them. I'll usually, you go and work all day and you can't be home raising two children. I went to work for myself. It was easier, and you make more money instead of having to work two jobs and them, destroying you. But
Facts.
yeah, and then I turn around, come home. I'd still have to do dishes. I do clothes. I clean house. I had to do the parent part, and I considered myself a daddy, mommy, or a parent because
Right.
I had to play. I had to be both roles, and I didn't have all the answers for it, but I did my best at it. And to have a boy and a girl was the challenge of a lifetime.
I had 2 boys, so I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. Now I have a stepdaughter, so I'm learning crash course about girls. So I was so protective over my boys. I probably would have been dangerous to be around if I had a girl. So I get
Yep.
it. I do. Being a single parent and working, it's a task in its own.
Yes. And now my son's at a disclosed location. I see him maybe once a month or so. And that way, if somebody is following me, don't belong following me, it doesn't link my son and them together. And that's I need to do. I need to keep my sons separate. But when I need him, he's back in the area. He'll help me do a job, and then he goes back to where he's at. And
Right.
that's trying to protect the only one I have availability to. And
Right.
he knows I'm out trying to find his sister when I'm not working. So it's
And I know that's hard to not not know where Etta is and then not have your son right there with you. But I totally get it. His safety is priority
yes,
number one.
yes, and I got and it's not obsessive in safety. It's very wise in safety because uh,
Mhm.
you know if are they going to move towards him or anything? You don't
Right.
know you don't know nothing. We don't have them answers, and uh, any information I got in them Texas, and I'll get you a copy along with the burn uh, of them text messages that she had on the deleted account. But no, it's she said herself that dad didn't approve of it, and he says anyone paying somebody to come and get somebody is trafficking, and that's correct.
Yeah.
And that way a trafficker would pay somebody to come and pick somebody up and take them to a disclosed location doesn't even mean it's out the state or even a county or a neighborhood. Okay.
Mhm.
And from there, I know she couldn't have took a plane because she had no identification with her. That's in a secured location. Her birth certificate or social security, nobody's ever tried to reapply for either of them. And that there again links to, she's gone,
Right.
and why would you disconnect from cousins that you talk to sometimes 2 and 3 times a day just to talk and tell them all your secrets? She has a female cousin, which is to me my second cousin, and that there is part that's uh, scary is she doesn't not even reached out to them people. The last message was to her aunt, and it said I love you. And when her aunt responded, there was never a return on a response. So it's like somebody erased her accounts, not her.
Right.
I even
And a lot of
posted on her.
times in those text messages, if you look at the wording, you can always tell whether or not that's your kid or somebody else grabbed the phone.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of the wording was correct spelling, and her spelling was actually not too correct. You understood things, but it was more words instead of what I'd call the generational letters that they use in messaging.
Mm-hmm.
Because they use a lot of, like us, we'll text each other and we'll use words, but they use a lot of 2 and 3 letters that have nothing to do with it, or or a saying that says the same thing that a sentence would say with it. And that there wasn't in there, and the spelling was kind of correct, which is raised the flag.
Right.
It's like somebody was helping her or doing the communicating.
Right.
So
I said, as a parent, you know these things. You know your kid. This is your child that's been with you, their whole life. So, especially after they get old enough to have a phone, you know what pattern your child texts is in.
yes, and I've
Like
seen her
my
text
oldest son, I have
messages,
to
and they can.
get him to like the little abbreviations. You got to sometimes, I'm not hip to the new lingo. You got to you got to tell me what you're saying.
I know
So
I'm
I
not used
get
to
it.
that new lingo either. I have a very beautiful friend in my life, uh, and she's the one that picked me up off my feet back in March, and told me I can't give up. I got to keep fighting, and we
No, you
went
can't give up.
forward. You know, and she knew this was beating me in the ground, and I've she was put in my life for a reason, and she has epilepsy, and she's the most awesome person I've met, and another single mom. But being, we're around each other most of the time, and everything's normal. I accept her talking all the time, her hands moving. It's all the things that you want in a person to be around. To be them.
Right.
Yeah, and that's and she's all for this, and she was in the hospital last week, and she told me I have to have flyers so me and her can go do flyers, and she wants part of it.
That's
So
awesome that you have that support at home. That means so much too.
yes, but
It really
yeah,
does.
then the other thing is a stray cat come along, and Eddie used to like bringing home stray cats, and she rescue cats, and find good homes for them, and sometimes we keep them. But I ended up with a stray cat, and even after last night with being on with yous, I had to go on a roof of a trailer I'm working on that I'm flipping, and get on the roof and get the cat off the roof. And I said, this is like old days. I had a cat on the roof of my daughter, and I had to go up on the roof and get it. But I said the cat was put in my life for a reason, to keep the hope up. And
Sometimes the blessings come in strangest ways.
yes,
We have a
but
rescue dog that came to us and really needed him when he came to us. I get it.
yeah, and my friend Tiffany, she said the cat was put in my life, right, to help me. And the cat, it's not with me right now, but most of the time, it rides in the car and sits in between the seats. So,
Oh,
and it's, all it'll do is go meow every so often. But other than that, it's like a companion. And uh, she pretty much wherever I go, she totes along with me. She gets in the car. That I call her a car kitty.
oh,
So, but it's no, it was put in my life. My daughter used to bring them home and rescue them, and Dad took a scrawny cat and turned the cat fat. So I call it beautiful kitty, and she's fat. But it was, my daughter. It brings back my daughter taking care of the pets. She finds them and says they need help.
right. And that's a beautiful thing. She sounds like she has a beautiful big heart.
Yeah. Well, she was. She was, like I said, very innocent and even naive about the real world. Social media is the biggest influence on the young generation and people. They use it to lure them in and promise them the world and
Hmm.
put them into trafficking. They do it with children and women. Women, they'll send them to a job, interview. They don't even know you, but they're going to give you a job making all kinds of good money. You get there and you're never seen again. Children are,
Yep.
children are the same way. They lure them in and you don't even know if the person you're talking to is a male or a female or where they're at. They can be anywhere in the world.
Yep. It's scary. It's scary, and a lot of people don't realize what these rings. They're everywhere. These human trafficking rings. It's not a small thing. It's actually a really bad epidemic. And you have these monsters that run these rings, and when they finally catch on to them, the numbers of people that they get are phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And even the ones that they're able to bring home from the bust and the stings, and it'll blow your mind if you actually look into it. And a lot of people, they automatically think, oh, well, it's trafficking, it was sex trafficking, but it's not always sex trafficking. Trafficking comes in all different forms and fashions. You have people that are trafficked and used for housekeeping, for childcare, for working, hotel work, like you wouldn't believe until you actually deep dive into something like this or get into what we do as advocates, and the numbers are astonishing.
Yes, and that's why the thing is, in 90% of the time, if somebody offered you the world in a job or something crazy, a lot of the time it's a scam.
Mm-hmm.
You know that,
and that's what they do.
They scam you. I had one person call and told me they were from the Department of Justice calling me about an accident I was in, and I'm like, well, I ain't drove all day. I've been at the same location since yesterday, right? And
wow.
When did this? And I says, take your scam somewhere else. But again, he was a foreigner thinking I'm gonna, oh, here's a credit card, I'm gonna pay it off. No, I hung up on him and blocked the number. And then I put it and said, Department of Justice calls you about an auto accident? I don't think so.
No. They can't even come up with good scams.
Yeah. They got to come up with better ones than that. And I've also had somebody come in and try to tell me that my daughter was in the trafficking up here in St. Pete Beach, but everything this person told me, and I do not think, like you say, well, it's going to cost you money for information. Well, for one, you didn't, I want to see my daughter, right? And for two, everything you're telling me is something that is commonly known that you could pick up. It's, my Facebook says St. Pete Beach, right? I'm not going to tell anyone my exact location. I'm in the county, okay? But St. Pete Beach may be 20 miles from it, but I'm not going to tell people yes or no. And, everything they were saying, and I told them, I says, well, it ain't bothered me since because they didn't lure me in because I don't just feed into what they're saying because common sense says, well, everything is just public information that they're telling. Yeah, it's on Facebook that my daughter's missing, right? Facebook says I'm in St. Pete Beach. Am I? Absolutely no. And I'm not far from it, but I'm not going to say the location on that. And I move around myself at night so I can find my, check areas and see what I can find out. I do flyers, I mingle with the homeless in different areas, and that's, how you get information.
You have to network.
You go out there, you put on a shirt that fits that and some pants, some holes in it. You look, pair of sandals and you fit right in. And, then you turn around and you mingle with them and find information out. You find all kinds of stuff out. And they're, the homeless are nothing but a network that people don't even understand yet. Some of them are good people, some of them are scary. But that's just like in every walk of life. Just because someone is in a nice neighborhood doesn't mean that they're not dangerous or, bad people. It's just that they're fortunately in a nice neighborhood.
Right.
But there she was influenced by somebody, and the way it says is, I'm happy. I'm finally happy in life. I'm deleting all my accounts. Well, this daddy says no. That's trafficking. You're not happy, and what you said is exactly what Dad said. There was something not right here.
I just done that up.
Yeah, but how many times would a parent be right when they tell their child, even when they're grown up, right? If something ain't right, and the parent be right again. You know what?
Facts.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's facts about a parent, and it's facts about people. If you care about people, you're not going to let them get hurt.
No.
And then that I was I wanted to find somebody she could be happy with in life, but why do you have to go across the country to find happiness?
Right. And even if that is the case, don't cut off your family, because
Yeah.
family's forever.
Yeah, and when
that's
all
what
the
it boils
family
down
and all the friends, everybody was cut off, that's a sign of human trafficking.
Yep. Yeah, because they get you away from your family, and they will try to break that emotional bond where, and a lot of times if you are a part of that, and, listening to survivors and hearing survivors from human trafficking, you would, these people are groomed. They're mentally changed. They're almost brainwashed to think that, it may be a case of nobody wants you, nobody cares about you, you're needed here. I'm gonna, like you said, promise you the world. We're gonna show you all kinds of fancy, sparkly things, and then bam, the next thing you know, we're searching for you.
Yes, and by the way that whole messaging, like I said, I'll forward all of you your number, and that messaging, right? Saying, I'm happy in life, okay, and I won't be on social media. No, that ain't my daughter. Okay, my daughter ain't happy in life to just block off social media, and she's a social media butterfly. And I mean, she had 2, 3, 4 accounts on every social media page there is. She's a butterfly. Social media was her world. And that way, people can understand that, you just don't walk away from something that you've been doing. Your pretty much whole existence, and say, I'm happy, bye. You know it? But why do you say bye to family that has not done nothing to you unless somebody else is controlling a situation?
Exactly. Putting stuff in your head that's not true.
Yeah.
I get it. I do.
That's where
what we're here for.
Yeah. That's where it was. She ran into the situation of, I don't, like I said, I feel that she was influenced for the wrong reason, and that person's the one that controlled it. That way she's she's being controlled for the wrong reasons, and you just don't erase yourself off of social media. Not from cousins.
No, you don't.
And if you don't want to talk to dad, you don't have to talk to dad, right? What about your brother?
Right.
What about your cousins? These people that have always been there, in your age group, that you say, that are fine.
Especially people you talk to on a daily basis.
Yeah. And that's where it fell into, is she was influenced in the wrong places. Whoever it was and whoever they are, it ain't their first time doing that, and I doubt it'll be their last.
Right.
That's where they have to be brought down. But we gotta find her and make sure she's safe.
And that's our end game, is to find Etta.
Yes, find Etta. We're doing flyers. We're Vern's getting some billboards up here in Florida. He'll be back in Florida pretty much probably at the end of the month or next month. There's this Steve coming in from California. All the help. Yep. Look for Etta. And these are people that step in and help families in need.
Yeah, Steve is
And
amazing. Steve's awesome. And Vern is amazing. They're great guys. And chat, I see you guys. I'll get to you guys here in just a minute. I appreciate everybody for being here and listening to Anthony tell us about Etta's story and bringing awareness to Etta. And yeah, Steve is amazing, like amazing. I reached out to Steve as soon as I was brought in and was like, hey, I need your help. Can you help? And he was on the road. As soon as he got home, got rest, got situated, he was right on top of messaging me back. Steve does amazing work and he will help.
yes,
Here for the
and I
right
talked
reasons,
to
and that's what we're looking for.
and I talked to Vern, and he's work in communication, and like I said, I'm going to send him copies of all them messages that came off of Facebook, and I can get you the person's name that which is a friend. She's not an enemy, right? But
Mhm.
it come to her thought. She says, "Yeah, I do have some that I never erased, even though the account's gone." And that there, the address there that was in there was the house was on the market from the appraiser. Uh, you know, looked out. Everything about the house showed at the time that nobody lived there on Google Earth map. That you can look at a location and see if there's things in the yard, and there's ways, cars in the driveway, and but
Zillow is also a great resource. You can see when the last time it was sold, as long as it's been listed on
yeah,
there. That's also another good resource you can use.
yeah, but no, the scammers and the traffickers use that stuff to benefit them. Like I said, a house that nobody lives in, that's a perfect place to say, oh, this is the house, for sale, or this is where we're gonna, we're living. This is the house I live in. But yet
Mhm.
there's no chairs in the yard, no pictures of you being inside the house,
Right.
and you could turn around and you know, who knows how many other people, if that guy's got, guy or woman's got a child, in most situations, the guy always got a daughter or son and they love me and call me mommy, which it says in the text, right? All that can be staged, that. And
Right.
it's all people within that person's network that works with them, you know.
And a lot of
So,
times they use stock photos. So, you
yeah,
want to, anytime you get some text messages from somebody you're not used to, take those stock photos and run them through Google. You'll be surprised. If you
yeah,
feel a gut feeling that doesn't feel right, check it, vet it.
yeah. It's just like that woman that tried to tell me that she knew my daughter's location. She was in trafficking, and my daughter's in danger, and it has to happen right away, right? Well, I didn't jump on it. Well, how much do you want? No, you know, you didn't show me my daughter. You can't show me my daughter. Okay, you're scam. Go scam somebody else and play with somebody else.
Right.
And I got some other very close friends that all went down the day I met with them that night, and they went and done flyers in the area. They're here, right here in Florida, and we did flyers in the area. They gave me flyers, and the thing is I told them about it, and uh, his wife actually went through there in Google Lens, and the woman's nothing but a fake account, and we knew
Right.
that. I said it's a fake account, right? I said, and they said there's no proof it's even a woman. It's just somebody using, 2 or 3 photographs of the same person on a Facebook page. Well, a Facebook page
Mhm.
shows you with your cats and your dogs and your birds and your fish, your home and your family members. That's a Facebook page. That's what it was originally designed for.
Right.
Yeah, but these other ones, when you got something that's just got a bunch of games on it in a picture, that ain't a Facebook page. Most of them are scammers.
Yep.
They're trying to lure somebody in for the wrong reasons, not the right reasons.
Exactly. I get messages all the time on my channel, Facebook. Hey, how are you doing? Do I know you?
Yeah,
Oh, you can, have you heard about this and this and this? No, have you heard about the FBI? I'll be more than happy to forward your information to them. Normally, they don't respond.
yeah. I don't respond. The ones that get me is one of my Facebook pages has over maybe 3,000 people on it, which I don't mind, right? Because I let the people mingle. But first thing is I'll get a message through their messenger of, "What are you looking for?" I says, "My daughter's the only reason I'm on here right now. Other than that, my Facebook page was literally, I was off it for years until
And you
this happened, and then I rebooted it, and got back into it, and we pretty much. But they think you're on Facebook, you're looking for something. Yeah, my daughter. I ain't
right.
looking
You
for
have to be
nobody.
careful with Instagram too, because Instagram's where you get the fake PIs. And they seem really real right in the few beginnings, and then you get that third or fourth message from them where it's some huge amount of money that they require to help. I'm sorry, you're
Yeah,
not helping. Go away.
yeah. You're not helping. Now you're hindering. Yeah, I had uh, a whole bunch of them in the beginning that was trying to get involved with. I had a GoFundMe. It's still up, but I have all kinds of awesome people now, and everything's happening that I was planning on trying to figure out the finances with. And the but what is so funny is all the people want to take over and manage something, right? I don't know use. I told somebody, you know, why you sending me to this person? It's going to cost me $100 to do this. 100. I says, who are you people? I'm not giving you access to my accounts. You know
Right.
that? If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And if I need professional help, I'll go to a professional person to write something. You know what?
There you go. Exactly.
I says it's worth a few extra dollars to have it done the right way the first time instead of a whole bunch of people scamming me and I still ain't got anywhere but a bunch of scammers.
And that's the sad world we live
But
in.
yeah, I know. And that's the part that makes us want to run. And it's but the world we live in is not, the few people that we can connect to, we can find out the good souls, but there's a lot of evil in it.
It is. There's a lot of evil in this world.
Yeah, because in Florida, Orlando's the worst in the zone of Florida, which is Central Florida for trafficking, and then Tampa runs second. But
That's
horrible. The sheriff over there is awesome. He every few weeks he nails another 200 plus people in the sex trafficking business, in the human trafficking. And the man's not ran for office in years, but he's always in. Nobody's going to run against him. The man does his job. There ain't no complaints about him.
No, we love some Grady Judd around here. Grady Judd for president. Grady Judd. He don't play no games.
Grady talks about. They said, "Why don't you run for governor?" He says, "I don't want to be governor." He says, "I enjoy being sheriff."
He's good at what he does.
He said, why would I run for governor? If people want me for governor, they're going to vote me in. He says, the whole state of Florida knows who I am, and most of the country does. And if you don't, and you've done something wrong, you're going to find out who I am. I'll come across the world to get you.
Him and his poster boards, they get me every time. I love it.
Yeah. And and the man has not changed who he is the whole time he's been in office.
Right.
And and like I said, every few weeks there's another couple hundred in the human trafficking that he takes down.
Yep.
And that there shows that there is good people. He says I don't care if you work for me, and if you do something wrong, I'm arresting you. We're not covering nothing up. He says, crime's a crime. He says, but that there we need more sheriffs like him in the country, and would get more results. Pinellas, detectives involved are Vern talked to him, or the one detective is trying to still go on leads because it keeps getting pushed out there about looking for her. and
Mhm.
more people, through social media, and people may take something and repost it, and next thing you know, you got 1 million people posted it, and 5 million seen it, and
Right.
that's how it works. You know, they'll take it and run the post, the next thing you know, it just keeps passed on, and before it's over, it gets pretty much in everybody's hands that needs to look at it.
Absolutely. And we have a
And
great
it's
community, and a lot of us, we have different followers, and that's the good thing about networking is once we put it out there, make sure you put out credible information. Make sure you think before you post. Once you post that post, it's out there.
yes, yes, and that's what the missing talk, me and her talk, and I've met a lot of good friends here in the social media, and that's the best part of it is that she's an awesome person. Uh, we talk back and forth. She lives up north, but it's she sat there and she says, "We're going to do this, this, and this, and then we're going to connect the right people to you." And she did.
Yeah.
Everyone could, including you, everyone connected through her.
She's
And
amazing. Yeah,
yes,
she's a blessing, an angel sent. Because like
yes,
I said, I said in my live last night, I'm here in Florida, and missing people is what I do, and I've never seen Etta's face until the missing contacted
yes,
me, and she tagged me on Twitter, and then we started contacting back and forth, and I was just livid at the fact that I'm constantly sitting here and running through missing people and running through, because a lot of it comes through my feed, and I see posters, and I have people that reach out to me, and they're like, "Hey, this case isn't getting attention. Have you heard of this case? Have you heard of this? Have you heard of this?" And I'm like, "Why have I not heard of this child? Why have I not seen her
yes,
face? Why do I not know her name? Well, let's fix that. Let's get her out there." So
yes,
that's our end game is get her out there, get her face out there, share credible information, sharing is caring, and bring her home.
yes. And that's where, like I said, this dad, I don't sleep much anymore. My hair's grown out. I got a lot of gray hair that I didn't have, but it ain't over until it's over. And when we bring my daughter home, we still got a lot more to bring home.
There's
And
so many. The numbers are phenomenal.
and it's sounds funny, but even though you care, right? Once it's your own child, it wakens you up to the real of what is going on.
Yes.
You know, and the
Yeah.
thing is to, and like I said, all these people out there missing. You know, my daughter's only one of what 2.5 million people that are gone in America, and a lot of them, cold cases and cases that are just, you know, been put on a shelf somewhere. And one day, here in Florida, they found uh, some bodies that were gone, people that were gone 20, 30, 40 years ago in the water, but at least they had closure,
Yep.
in their cars. And, but the thing is, it's like, it's what them people are, everyone's doing their best to try to find closure for people, you know, and, do we have a phone for Edith? No. It's like there's no communication. And if you're
Yep.
happy, why aren't you showing happiness on social media?
Right.
You know,
Right. We should
you
see
know,
pictures of her new life and what she's
yes,
got going on, and you're not seeing that. You don't see anything. You see post, constant sharing, and then nothing.
yes,
And that's very concerning.
yes.
Very concerning.
And there's my daughter with her little posts and her pretty hair and her tongue, and that was
Mm.
her. That's how she was.
And I
19
think
years
this is
old.
my favorite picture of her out of all the pictures that I have found. I think
Yeah,
this one I'm hooked to. This is my favorite. She just
Yeah.
looks so happy, and she's got, the tongue sticking out like, "Hey, I'm fun. I'm great to be around," the hearts, and she's just a beautiful girl, a glowing, beautiful girl. And that's why I feel like it's important to share her face while we're talking about her. That way, never know who's going to click through this live. They may see her face and go, "Oh, you know what? I saw her a couple days ago at such and such 7-Eleven," or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important
Mhm.
to share her face, share her name. And as I said last night, if you guys need a flyer, hit me up and we will get you a flyer. Or we
Yes.
will get you some way to put her face out there. Screenshot, share. It takes 2 seconds to hit a share button. That's all
Yes.
we're asking.
And the thing is, it's just getting it out there because you may not have seen her, but somebody may have seen her. You
Right,
know that? And
right.
the only way nobody would see her is if they keep her locked in a house somewhere,
Facts.
or,
And
or,
that's what
or
we're
in a
scared
building.
of. And that's where you bring in the professionals that we've been able to get in on the background. And that's where you get the professionals involved, and they have all the fancy tools and the fancy training and everything. And that's where we're hoping
Yeah.
that if that is the case, then we also have that avenue covered as well. We have those people that have the training, the capabilities, the tools to be able to find her. Sometimes it just
Yes.
takes, if she does, if she does have a phone, it takes turning that phone on for 1 second. That's all they need. They
Yeah.
just need that phone long enough to come on, and that's all they need. And it sends a signal.
Mhm.
Ping, there it is.
Yes. Because that's where that Jane Doe, where me and the detectives had the conversations. She told the detectives, well, she gave Etta a phone the night before she left. I says, well, that's impossible unless Etta was with her the night before she left,
Right. And
because
Truth and
Etta didn't
Justice
see.
asked, did she take her phone with her when she left that night?
Yeah, and that's where this person said that they told the detectives they gave her a phone. I says, well, this daddy, I bought my daughter within a year and a half, 2 years, must have bought her about 30 phones, because every time I buy it, somebody was destroying her phone, not her.
Oh,
And the thing is, the phone that I have my tweeter on my ex is what pretty much Etta's old number.
okay.
But Daddy's had the same account for 18 years, or I mean, since 2017, 18. But Daddy has got the same 3 numbers in the same period of time. They have not changed.
Right.
You
My
know,
number's been the
I'm not
same for
gonna.
a long time because I have kids. And if something was to happen to one of them, I don't need them trying to remember
Yeah,
what my number is. I'm in Florida and I have a Kentucky number. That's why I always try to send a text message when I reach out to people if they haven't ever heard of me before. I'm like, hey, I know it looks weird. I know I make it very open that I'm in Florida, but there's a reason I have a Kentucky number. I have a son that struggles with mental health, and I don't need him trying to remember, well, mom changed her number. What is it? No, that's negative. That's not going to happen. I have a forever
yes,
phone that I've been with Metro so long, they actually gave me an extra phone line to do what I do. So
yeah,
that phone, like I said, the number doesn't get given out. It's specifically emergency only, but it's always there. And my kids have the number, and I told them both, put this in your phones as mom's forever phone.
yes,
So you guys know this is not mom's main number, but this is mom's forever phone. You can reach her on either number, no matter what. And both of their significant others have that number as well, because you never know what's going to happen. And the missing, she says, Anthony, I'm happy Etta is getting some attention now and she's here with you. Thank you, the missing.
I,
You're awesome. Big hugs, girl.
yeah. That's my bestest buddy. She stepped in when Daddy was beating his head in the wall. You know that?
The Truth and Justice says, who was the last person she talked to of her friends before she went missing? We're not going to put any names out there just simply because it is an open investigation and we are keeping the integrity of her case. But
Yes.
Anthony does have information. But thank you for the question.
Yes, I have information. Like I said, I think outside the box, and there's answers even in the dumbest areas. The only way you're going to find somebody is to think outside the box.
Facts.
Because if you said it can't happen, it can happen. I'm a father. I already know that. I raised 2 children. I've seen it
Right.
all. and but and the thing is, it's that's where I, just when you think, is this linked to this? Well, there was one location. That place, like I said, was a dead end, right? If she was
Right.
in the area, right? If she was ever in the area or ever went to the area, we'd never know because that place, pretty much is not linked to nobody. It's a rental.
Right.
So, and the past owners, I doubt they were involved. Most people that own a house are not out, in selling it are not out there trying to lure children in, because she said with this guy that she was going to meet up with is the fact that he had a daughter and the daughter called her mommy, and I said that's all BS, right? I said
Mhm.
he's a grown man that lives with his parents, which is a flag that there's something right. If why you a grown man living with your parents, okay? To me,
Right.
you can't take care of yourself. How you gonna take care of my daughter? I'm a
Facts.
father. And that there is another flag that Daddy don't like. Everything that she had that was positive, and not that I was controlling. It was everything was a fact that something was wrong. You know. I
Right.
look at if we're taking care of you, right? If your parents, you're living with your parents, you can't provide for yourself and your daughter.
Yep.
Okay, I ain't lived with my parents since I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Okay,
I got married at
I
16, so I understand.
yeah, my mom passed away on June 26th. I didn't go back up for the funeral or nothing because my daughter's here. We gave DNA up, me and my son. But
Right.
what is so crazy is I never wrote home to my mother and says, "Mom, I need rent money. Mom, I need car payment money. Mom, I need food money." You know something? I never done that. My siblings, every one of them. So you know, my mom and dad taught me how to raise myself and be grown up. And I didn't have all the answers in life. I learned. You know, I scuffed my knees. I made and lost millions. But you know something? I pick myself up and go forward. But
And that's
it's
all you can.
and even like I said, my grown siblings were asking mom, a year or 2 years before she passed away, "Oh, I need rent money, mom. I need this, mom. I need that." You're grown up. You can't budget your bills. You know it.
Mm. Yeah,
And
my
then
mom's gone too, and I have a brother that I could say a lot of the same things about. He never actually, I guess, grew up as an adult until we lost her, and then he didn't really have a choice but to understand that there's life outside of the fact that you have to raise yourself. Mom spent, our whole 18 years raising us. Well, me 16, him beyond 18. And,
Yes.
once she was gone, he was not the same because he had expected her to be there for so long. And Truth and
Yeah.
Justice, she's asked, did someone ask her to come outside that night? I mean, as far as I know, we really don't know. She vanished.
Yes. And that's when she walked away that night. She was with a couple friends. The phone that I'm on and with this camera is the one I use for Facebook, but the other one's
Right.
right next to me, and it's on YouTube on that phone too with the live stream. And the thing is, with you know, that was the other phone is the one that was Etta's number, but and why did I turn it on? Well, this daddy thinks outside the box. Well, maybe one day someone's gonna call or text that number
Hmm.
and ask how she's doing or say where you at, it, and
Right.
it makes sense. It makes sense, but a lot of people do not think like that. Well, if your child's missing, turn that, and they had a phone, turn that number on and keep that phone with you. You're going to
Facts.
get text messages. You may get a phone call. It may not be today, tomorrow. It's going to happen.
Exactly.
And
And Truth and Justice, this is what we're scared of, is that, yes, a predator may have potentially got to her. That is our main fear. is that
Yes.
she didn't just decide that she was grown and she was going to make it on her own, that she was groomed and gone. And we'll leave it at that because
Yes.
we're hoping that that's not the case, but we have to look at everything when it comes to these missing cases, especially when it comes to a beautiful young girl in the world we live in today. And like Dandy
Yes.
says here, if you see something, say something. It's the smallest tip. You may not think it's anything, but it may be the tip that brings our missing home and Etta home.
Yes. And it's like I was saying, and why did I turn that phone on with that number? Because it was her number. And the phone, I have 3 phones in the same, company that I got the phones from. I've been with since 2017, 18, and the same
Mhm.
numbers. Well, she always had that number, so let's keep that number going. You know what?
Right.
I'm using it now to search for her, and when I find her, I'll go get her her own new number and another nice phone, and I'll give her, you know,
A fresh start.
and give her a fresh start. And but it ain't. It's and if you're out there with this good life, let me know. Let me know
Right.
that you're okay, so we can call off the search. You know what? Other
Right,
than that,
because this is what we're going to continue to do, especially and Etta, if you can hear the sound of our voice, your daddy just wants you home, and we're not going to stop till we know you're okay.
yeah, and you know, and it's got to be your voice, not some other person's voice.
Right,
And I know what
your
you sound
voice.
like. Yes, and all you got to do is call. You can leave the number private and tell me you're okay, right? And you know, I love you. It's and if you're running from yourself, you can't ever get away, honey. But I don't think you're running from yourself. I think you were influenced by somebody and you're in danger. So daddy's looking and it ain't over.
Yeah.
And this daddy doesn't stop until I get results. And you already know that. Yeah, you lived with me your whole life.
Right,
You know, it doesn't end until we have the results. And
that's
that's the
it.
way it's always been. Yeah.
That's it.
And,
Uh,
my
that's our
son
end
knows
game,
that.
is bringing her home. And she has a
Yes.
loving family and a loving father and a brother that just wants her home.
Yes.
And you don't have to answer this. If it's something that's in the investigation, please don't answer it. Do you know if there was any cameras around, ring camera footage or anything where she was found on camera, that's been able to be found
Uh,
or pulled?
no, they weren't able to get no cameras.
Okay.
But that Jane Doe worried because I said, well, I'm one of those that when she was pulling my strings and irritating me, is what I call it. Because if you call me and you're under the influence of some kind of alcohol or drug, that's live your life there, but don't call me crying that if something happened to my daughter, you can't live with yourself. But I told her just to push her buttons because she was irritating me. I said, well, we know that she was picked up at a certain place by somebody at night, and they do know that, and it got her even more crying and worried that something happened to her.
Right.
So, yeah, well, we already know she was picked up by somebody. But that links it back. Would that person have picked her up that at night that time? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know it,
It's scary.
and yeah, it's scary. But the thing is, it's like I said, that person contacted my niece's oldest daughter, uh, which is at his age, within a year, and ask her what's the updates on what's going on, and what we know, all the family members that are know the information are not entitled to speak about what's going on and what they do or don't have. Well, why are you still worried about something that you turned over to the police in a completely different town, right, than where you lived and where my daughter
Mhm.
was at? That just, don't make sense. It's like you're away from me and I'll take you that away. But, if someone's missing in Orlando, why are you going to call St. Pete and tell them they're missing? You know it?
Right.
It's like you're, two different locations.
I said it's
You know,
like I'm here, but look here. Don't look over. Don't look at me. Look over
yeah,
here or over here or over here, but don't look at me. It's very,
yeah,
very concerning.
yeah. Very concerning. That person also, my youngest brother, uh, met up with him and his wife and their children, right? And then he went up north after that and spoke with the family and told the family that he feels she knows something about it. That's directly out of his mouth. She knows something, and and he's pissed off at Tony and wants to put him away. And he says, yeah, because Tony said if he found out you had something to do with what happened to my daughter, he's going to whack you. Well, that's what made her call the police. You're
Oh
going
my
to sit there and
goodness.
irritate me, and you're going to irritate me and keep calling me with the same things. Well, where is my daughter and who's got her? That's what you
Right.
should be telling me.
Exactly.
So this daddy can go get his daughter.
Right.
I'm
We
not
don't
going to
need you
play with
muddy in the water in any way, form, or fashion. The water's already muddy enough. If you
you.
have credible information, then
Yes,
reach out. Please do not harass this father. He's going through enough as it is,
yeah,
not having Etta at home.
yeah. And this daddy isn't playing. Like I said, even with that one fake account, right? We ran that account. We already know it's a fake account. If it's a male or female,
Mhm.
could have been that Jane Doe that originally called the police and told the police about this in a totally different town than where she disappeared from. Could it have been her? It can be. It could be her
Right.
saying this, this, and this, using a fake account. Fake accounts are all over Facebook. They're all over every one of these. And that's one thing people need to be aware of is social media is actually one of the doors to lure people in to human trafficking. And that and scams, but human trafficking is how they lured the people in. You got
Yep.
TikTok, you got Instagram, Facebook, all the other ones, Bigelow,
Kick. The list goes on.
Kick.
The list goes
Yeah,
on and on.
yes, it goes. It's so big you never believe it. And that's where I already aware of that, and I already knew social media was not a good thing because these big corporations can't monitor social media for basics. How to they can't even prove if an account's a fake account or a real account. It's no matter who they are, and that's a
Right.
known fact. Unless your account shows your normal life. If you look at my Facebook account, there's things of what I do. There's things about my missing daughter. There's things about my cat, right? That I rescued. But there's things about me, my life. Okay, and that's when you can see a real account. There ain't I don't play all them social media games. When I'm on it, and why am I on it? Looking for my daughter. And when I'm done finding my
Facts.
daughter, and if I can find somebody else in the process of finding my daughter, we're getting that person home. That's the job here. It's just my daughter,
Right.
and the rest of them need to be home, or at least
Yep.
families need to closure and know where the person's at. And that's that's a fact. It doesn't end just with my daughter. If I can find somebody else, I'm going to get the information out. Even if
You would
it's
be surprised how often we see that in these families. Whenever a lot of the families that I work with that started out with a heartbreaking story with their loved one missing, and now, like Nani of 7, her granddaughter was missing, and she was with her biological monster, and we ended up getting her home, and now she's an
yes,
advocate for missing. So it's strange how the world works. The missing says you're doing good, Anthony. We're all
yes,
proud.
I know. That's my buddy. I'll talk
It's
to her
very
later. I sent her pictures of my cat that was stuck on the roof last night. I had to get a ladder to get her down.
get over the cat on the roof. It's like it never ends, does it?
No, but that's who I
Our
call her
pets are
beautiful
our
kitty, and
heathens.
I'm saying, come on, it's time to go. And all of a sudden, I hear all these paws, and it's on the roof. And I look up there, and there she is on the roof. So she didn't want to jump down, so I had to get the ladder and then go up on the roof and get her and carry her down.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
it was one of them nights, but she was worth every moment. I says, if I didn't have this in the middle of everything going on, I says, it wouldn't be normal. I
Right.
says it may have took a little bit of time, but yeah, my cat's my cat. She's there to keep me company, and she's when I do sleep, she'll cuddle up next to me and go right to sleep and won't move until I get up. That's how close me and the cat are. And when I
I
first
love
met
my
her,
fur baby.
and when
So
I
I get
first
it.
met her, she was scared of me, and pretty much she scared everybody else except me. But when it's time that if I lay down to go to sleep or even sleep in a car seat, parked somewhere, and she'll just climb on my lap and go to sleep right in my lap. And when I get
Aw.
up, is when she'll move. But no, she's pretty much like a therapy cat. Let
Right.
me know somebody's here with you, and you're not alone.
They're never alone. And if you
No,
have the fur babies, like I have miniature, well, we have a pit bull that's a rescue. He actually just walked out, but I have miniatures that are my girls, and I'd be lost without them. Like they've helped me get through so much, and my min pin's been with me for she's been with me for a long time, probably about 15 years now. So I get it. I get it. And
and
we
it,
have some great people here. We have great people in this community that are here to help as well. So you're definitely not alone.
yeah, and it's like I said, my daughter used to rescue cats, and what's helping a cat out, and the cat turned out to be, if I need to talk and have things on my mind, I just tell the cat, and the cat looks at me and says meow. It's all the cat
Oh,
will say. And
right.
but the cat, but like I said, she's there, and she'll come up and know I need a hug, so she'll do her best, and sometimes it's she'll give me a lick or she'll rub her face against mine to know, saying I'm here. So, but they know, when you need something. But I told her, I says we're on a mission to find out, and she doesn't care. She's all for it because that's when we get to go for car rides.
Right. Bye bye kitty. That's what I call my
Yeah,
girls, the bye bye dog, because she loves to go
yeah,
bye bye. I pick up the keys and she's under my feet because they're little bitty guys. They're miniatures, so they're not very big. And
yeah,
I've got one that likes to jump up and take out the back of my knees. So
yeah.
it's like you're gonna take me. I'm the bye bye baby. And
Yep.
then my Dotson, she actually can't stand any vehicles that pass by, so she wants to attack semis as they go by, or big trucks. Cars, she's okay with.
Yeah.
Motorcycles, no problem at all. But if it's a big truck or a semi, she's all about trying to eat the window. It's great. And
Damn.
Dandy, we do have a PI that is helping. Steve
Yes.
has been brought in, so we're
Yeah.
blessed and thankful to have Steve here in the community
Yes.
as well. Anthony, have
Yes.
you tried reaching out to the local news? That might fire
Uh,
the Dandy. If you didn't catch the live last night or the beginning of this live while we were waiting on Anthony to figure out StreamYard, because it's always fun your first time on StreamYard links.
yeah.
I went ahead
And
and ran Tampa Bay Ken. They did a great interview with Anthony.
yes. And that's Shannon, and she sent me a number I got to call this week, right? And
Hmm.
to connect, and I sent her and let her know we were going. We're on uh YouTube, and keeping her informed, and send her all kinds of pictures of Etta, and she's a very blessed person in life because, and she agreed with me. When they put these uh amber alerts out, and the purple alerts, and the silver and the gold or red alerts,
Yeah.
you know, that's just the sheriff's office or a local police station. But
Hmm.
the news media, and she agrees with me, why ain't the news media involved? Because the news media, for the people that don't go on social media, why have they been given this information where they could blast it across the country? because a station, channel 10 here with her, right, is linked to Tennessee. Well, when Etta's alert went out months ago, okay, Tennessee done a news article on her on the channel, okay, on their channel, which is her affiliate station. But she said, but nobody here done anything. And you're talking hundreds of miles away, right? Why wasn't it done here also?
Right.
You know it? And she said there is a problem with communication. And if we're trying to find these people, we need to get this information out. And it's just not on social media. We got to get it out, news media, not just one station. Bring the stations and get make this public. Get the
Absolutely.
information. So,
Absolutely.
and she agreed. She said they gave a segment in Tennessee, but it still didn't resolve why there wasn't a segment in Florida. She goes,
Nope.
I didn't know about it, and that's my affiliate station. They never called and says, you got any more info? So it's very confusing of why it doesn't happen.
Thank you for sharing, guys. I appreciate it. And that's where we're harping on social media is if we could get, or not social media, mainstream media. If we can get mainstream media involved, that's the network that we really need. And big, like I said, big shout out to Tampa 10. I'd really like to get News Nation, hint, hint, Brian Enton.
Yes.
If we can get them involved, that'd be great.
Yes.
That's, and I know we have a great advocate. Legacy that's on Twitter. She has some good connections too. So she's working on getting some big news outlets involved as well. So hopefully we'll be able to get a lot more traction.
Yeah, because with this and all the following, Nancy Grace is I actually follow her, but hers come into an investigator, person that's in the media. Is how I ended up in her, following her. But
okay.
And Justin Lum, I got, I follow him. But them are the big dogs in the country that if they speak, people look. Even 60 Minutes or any of them big stations do something. When they speak, some people listen.
Yes, they do.
Make them more involved in the missing. That because when they're involved in the missing people, you get results for it's like the Chad and Lori Delville case. They got these people, in what brought that case to light is YouTube and all these. They call them
right.
social media investigators. But I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for social media, that case would have went without being noticed, and they would have got away with
exactly. And how many cases have been solved because of social media? I'm not going to sit here and list them off, but there are a couple here in Florida that have been solved or found, or it like Gabby. Gabby was found by a YouTuber.
Yes, by a YouTuber.
It happens. It happens. Social media is not an evil thing. It's how you use your special power. If you use your special powers for good, then we're good to go. If you use your special powers for evil, you're not helping. And Karen Lee asked, has Etta been diagnosed with developmental delay? If so, would law enforcement take that seriously concerning situations? So she was, that's how she got a purple alert. Anthony can enlighten. Karen was a little late coming in. She's catching up on 2 times speed. So her comments might be a little behind, and I'm way behind. So.
Oh, it's no problem. There's a lot of comments out there. and the thing is, Etta had a developmental learning disability. Like I said, she was her mentality was stuck between 9 and 11, depending on the day. And every so often, a personality would come out that she would battle the world and then turn around and start crying and then go back to being pretty much a little tiny child. And she was a grown, 17, 18 years old. And, she bumped heads with Dad, and Dad pretty, like I said, I never spanked my children. I love my children, we had our disagreements, but Dad pretty much said it was going to happen. It was going to happen. You know it.
Yep.
And
That's
I
you have to
learned,
be that. You have to be a friend, but you also have to be a parent. And there's a fine line in between there. But you always have to remember when you step in those boots of being a parent, you have to be a friend to build that rapport, to build that relationship with your child. But you still have to be able to say no. I care about
yes.
you. It's not going to happen because I care about you.
Oh, it's my son. He's my best friend. He's my son. He's, everything.
I get it.
And the thing is, my daughter was my, a best friend, a daughter, right? She was Daddy's
Mhm.
little girl. I call her my little Etta. And she was always a little Etta. Petite, very uh fragile, everything about her. You know, she was my little girl. Even though she was grown up, she would always be, even at my age, you're concerned that is she going to be okay in life because you know, can she hold a job? I doubt she'll ever hold a job. I doubt she'll ever drive.
Right.
But the thing is, it's her, and you know, I could live with it. But finding someone special that she'd be good with is another. You don't have to travel across the country to go find somebody that can make you happy.
No, you
Okay,
don't.
no, and the thing is, it's to me, right? I don't drink or use drugs. My biggest habit's smoking and drinking coffee all day long.
Hey,
And
same. My coffee's right here, and every time you see me pop off camera, it's because I'm smoking a cigarette.
yeah,
I get
and
it.
well, every so often I'll take a drink, and that's coffee, and it's what 4 or 5 o'clock at night. I'll drink coffee until I go to sleep, and when I
I'm
get
the
up,
same
I'll drink
way.
coffee. And
And I'm the one that if I can't sleep or I've got myself so worked up, I'll make a half a pot of coffee and pass out because I've been
yeah,
drinking coffee since I was about 3. So
yeah, and it's and that's where I drink coffee all day long. Someone
I do
says, "You want
too.
something cold to drink?" I says, "My coffee." And they says, "You're still drinking coffee?" I says, "No, but it's like 12 cup, 13 cup." What do you mean?
It's
It ain't the
normal to
same
me.
cup. Yeah, but that's you know, but I grew up in a family. My dad was what you call a successful alcoholic, right? My mom
Yeah.
was a mom. Okay, they both worked. Okay, uh, I had a good life. When my dad like I said, he was a successful drunk. Okay, he made the money, and he'd go to work as an engineer, drunk, and still function as an engineer. And
Mm.
but his outbursts of anger, was I beat? Yeah, I was beat by my dad. That's back when parents could claim they can just discipline you accordingly. But when I grew up and I said I'm going to never spank my children, I had to live by what I knew what it was like to be beat as a child. I don't want my children to fear me.
Right.
You know what? As a parent,
Right. And I never
you know,
wanted that either.
no. And the thing is, I learned, if you can't get it worked out, you send them to their room and let them figure it out.
Facts.
You know, and and not everything is, and there's sometimes you got to meet in the middle, but it's not always, you're not always all the way right and all the way wrong, or you're sometimes all the way right, and sometimes you could be wrong once you
And I
got the
used to
rest
tell
of
my
the facts.
boys, if you're that angry with me, I'm doing something right.
Yeah,
If I said no, it wasn't because I'm being ugly or the mean old mom. My shirt's one of my favorite shirts, the momster, because I had to be.
yeah,
I had boys in this world in time, and I've got one that's 19 and one that's in his 20s. And, it's a struggle every day to, even with them grown now, I'm constantly, hey, are you guys okay? I love you, just thinking about you. And I
mm,
harp that, if you have a loved one that you haven't heard from, reach out to them and let them know you're still there, because sometimes people forget that you still have that family that's there for you.
yeah. Even with that, right? And she even in Texas that she made, my dad doesn't agree with it, you know, and my, but my dad ain't gonna be happy, you know, but
Right.
usually if dad, and dad didn't say something to be mean. I said something because dad thinks, knows what's going on in the world, okay,
Yep.
And I just don't assume that what's being said is correct. You know what?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't say
And
no because I don't care. It's because, because we do care.
yeah, and that's when I told her no, it ain't, and even at 18, 19 years old, I'll take 20, I'll tell you no, and it's no. You know what? If something ain't
Yep.
right, it ain't right.
I'm constantly on mine. You don't stop being a parent because they're grown. You don't stop being a parent because they're married. That never stops.
No.
It never stops. They're your children forever. Whether it's life in life or death, they're still your kids. They're still your babies. And you guys will hear me a lot referring to these kids and even adults sometimes as my babies, and I don't mean that as a childish form. I mean, that's an endearing term is what my mother would call it.
Yes. And that's what, like I said, it's, I I raised them the best I could. Okay. And there's in a family, there's good times, bad times, and there's, you know, that times in between. But in the end, it's what makes every one of us who we are.
Right.
And it's like I said, uh, if I already know that nobody's attempted to uh, retrieve another birth certificate or another social security number for her, under her name, could she be under an alias? Absolutely. Because I'll have to send you something. Hell, you can go on Facebook and get a driver's license now. You don't even have to go to DMV, right? And
Right.
last night I seen that on Facebook, and it'll blow your mind. But here, just tell us, and you can have it with a driver's license within days. So,
Yep.
under what name am I
You
going
can
to
do
have
just
it
about
under?
anything online.
Yeah.
You can do anything
And
online anymore.
and I said, and this is right here on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Says, yeah, we can get our driver's license and new ID on Facebook quicker than we can DMV. And
Yep.
And that's it goes on every day. So if they can do that easy, the thing is, it's fake IDs are simple to get. It's just not having a connection.
Yep.
So, and even the cops said, they brought it up is she could be using another name or alias. I said, yeah, but you don't know that. But it's still, why would you go from being on social media to not being on social media unless something's not right?
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to share her face. We want to
Yeah.
share her name, and we want everybody to know that she does prefer to be called Etta. But it's so
Yes.
important to get her face out there, because if, just taking the possibility into the extremes, if she has been groomed, you guys have to take into effect what happens to these girls and boys that are put in those situations. They're brainwashed.
Yes.
She may not even realize,
Of who she is
not to say
anymore.
she doesn't know who she is, but who she is, if that makes sense to y'all. You know what I mean? Like, she'll
Yeah.
still know who she is on the inside, but it's that cover that's been put over her. And this is all speaking possibility. I'm not speaking as facts, guys. This is just knowledge purposes for education. Is you have to take into effect all aspects of what could be going on, what could be happening.
Yep. And that's but that's where, like I said, it's very concerning because I already know possibility of brainwashing, mind control. They could have it in their head that her family's no longer around. And
Exactly.
and the opposite, her family in every state that they're in, and I got family members in pretty much a lot of states, is
I do
trying to
too.
get the information. Yeah, and pretty much trying to get information out.
And a lot of
And
people that are in this community understand what goes on in Tennessee and how the human trafficking is also a huge problem in the state of Tennessee. So
it's Tennessee's number one
that we have
Tennessee's
to be
the
in,
number one. Yeah.
big red flags. Big red flags.
Yep.
Definitely. But Anthony, I thank you so much for coming up and telling us Etta's story. I don't want to keep you too long or make the live too long because we want people to view it. You are welcome to come up anytime you want to talk. Like I said, you can call me on the phone and we'll talk about anything you want to. And we're going to keep sharing Etta's face, share her name. If you guys need a flyer, please hit up my email and I will make sure I get a flyer to you guys. And thank you all for being here and listening to her story. And if you haven't seen the Tampa Bay 10, please get on. Please get on and check that out because Anthony did a phenomenal job on that interview. Excuse me.
Yes.
I've still got the CrimeCon funk, guys, so I apologize for having to mute and clear my throat. I'm getting over it slowly but surely, so I apologize. But Missing in America, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. She just popped into chat, or they popped into chat. Thank you so much for coming.
And I'll get that stuff to you in a while. I'll go through and pull all them texts out and send them to you so that way you can see what they are. But I went through them. How you got to dissect everything and see everything. And, I'm Dad and I know her writing. And, like I told this one person, I says, well, she would never tell me she's happy and just erase social media. Right? Oh, she'd erase that account, but she'd have 5 others right afterwards. That's my daughter.
Ready to go. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Or I erase it, Dad, but I still got 12 more. So, it's okay.
Here's another one you can get a hold of me on. Right, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. In this day, you got, like we were talking about, you got Instagram, TikTok, you got all these other platforms. A kid her age is not going to just be like, well, social media cleanse. Maybe somebody my age, I'll be honest, I take a couple of days, but I don't delete my social media. I might disappear for a couple of days just to do, myself, mental health check, get back to where I need to be. So I'm focusing. But these kids don't delete their whole social medias. It doesn't happen.
And if they do, so you can go into Google Lens and do a reverse search. And on a reverse search, it'll take that picture that you put in there of that person. And it'll run everything in existence on social media, right? And come back with the result, yay or nay. And that's something a lot of people don't know about. And that's how that one woman or person that tried to scam me, right? Saying it's going to cost you for information that your daughter's in human trafficking. Well, if my daughter's in human trafficking and you were, why is it going to cost me?
Yep.
You know what? Go play the game somewhere. But I ran that and I already know it's a fake account. But that person, I kept the messages. I'm just waiting to see how long it takes before they decide to erase their page and try something different with another page if they don't already have 6 or 7 pages.
Yep. Monsters.
Yeah. Remember the monsters that are among us.
Like that's it right there. Monsters that walk among us. Those strongest words right there. You never know. It could be the guy you bought Starbucks from this morning. It could be the chick you paid for your groceries at Walmart yesterday. You never know. These people hide in plain sight.
Yeah. It's an illusion. That's what I tell people. I says everything in life is an illusion until you bring out the reality.
Yep.
I says everything you see, I says you have to rethink it. I says someone you trust, right? It's just like this. Disney employees, they arrested a bunch in human trafficking recently, right? And it seems like every time Grady gets out there and arrests some human traffickers, there's always somebody out of Disney. School teachers, And it's like, I'm not taking my children to Disney.
No, it's not safe. It's like we actually took my youngest son to SeaWorld. Our daughter was out of town because she, her schedule stays busy with her friends.
Yeah.
And we went to SeaWorld. We're walking around the penguin enclosure. And, thank goodness that I did spend some time. I lived in Las Cruces for a while. And, when I took in high school, I learned a little bit of Spanish. Well, we're standing there and we're watching the penguins. And this little girl, she was probably about 4 years old, walks up to me, doesn't speak a word of English. And I was communicating with her. And she just, she hung out with us for a good 30 minutes while my youngest son went to go find a park employee because, this is not my kid. I'm not a monster, but I could have very easily picked her up, put her on my
Yeah.
hip, and walked out of that
Yeah.
park with her. And that happened right here in SeaWorld in Florida.
And the
Not,
parts that get
6 months ago?
and the parts that get me is I'll go to a store parking lot, right? Because
Mhm.
I had to go pick something up when we first went on live, right?
Right.
And what is so amazing, and it ain't changed, and it irritates me, is how these younger people walk, and these children are behind them in a parking lot with cars backing up, and they can't even see over the back window of their car. And it's amazing how they don't even care. When I grew up, your parents had you next to them or in front of them, walking with them,
Exactly.
and that's
Well, I
scary
pulled up to
because
Dollar General probably about
and
2 weeks
somebody can
ago, and there's a little girl in the car. No parent,
yes,
just hanging out in
yes,
the car. I about flipped my
yeah,
lid.
yeah, somebody can grab one of them children and be gone. And what are the
It
parents
happens
are
that
worried?
fast.
Yeah, and the parents are is walking up front on social media, not concerned that the child's 6 cars behind them, and it's irritating because that's how
Mhm.
they nab these young children. Well, I was walking,
Yep.
we were walking, we went shopping and going to there, and somebody grabbed her. Well, what did they look like? Oh, I don't know. You know, she was this right
Exactly. And
here.
it's like when I was growing up, you could let your kids play in the yard. Now it doesn't matter if you have a 15-foot tall fence. Don't let your kids play in the yard by themselves. I don't care if you have 10 ring cameras.
Oh, I know. That's what I said. I said when I grew, I sold a trailer in a park uh, about a week and a half ago. And the one thing about the park is the park was a mixed community, right? It's
Mhm.
amazing, but the thing is, the parents were like when I grew up that Betty knew Joan and Joan knew Samantha, and every mother in that park, when them children were out there, one of them mothers were always outside.
Right.
You know that?
That,
They
and
knew
that's
what
what
was
Mickey
going
was
on.
saying. Is the
And
time that we grew up in, we knew people in our
yeah,
neighborhood. I grew up on a dead end road in Western Kentucky. I knew every person in that neighborhood. I knew everybody that
yes,
came in and out of that neighborhood.
yeah.
And
And
it's
them people
amazing.
there, because I'd go over. I sold the trailers, about a week ago, and I love them people because it was a neighborhood. The children played the skateboards. The young teenagers in high school were holding hands and sitting on a lawn chairs in the trailer park, right? The young ones
Mhm.
were playing in their little wagons and their little three-wheelers, but there was always an adult out there that kept an eye on them children, and almost every family
Right.
had children. And and that community there is what I remember. Like I said, if I got in trouble, the neighbor lady would whip me before my dad would. Okay,
Right.
and that was part of the program. Before you got home, you knew it was on. Okay, because the everyone knew everyone, and the parents had if he's acting up, spank him and let me know because he's getting another one when he gets back. And
Right.
but we played in the streets, we played in the yards. Nowadays you can't.
No.
You play in your house, they'll break in your house and take your kid.
Yep.
You know,
You have to be so careful. It's like we have a case that a lot of people in this community interact with the family, and that baby was the guy came in his room and took him out of the bed
yeah,
and was coming back to get his little brother.
and that's scary.
It's terrifying. I mean, right out of his
Yeah,
bed.
yeah, and it happens day and night, and that
Yeah, it's like,
and
if you
it's
guys haven't heard
awareness.
of it, look at Cash Gernon's case. Your stomach will
Yeah,
turn at the footage from his bedroom. That is the only way they knew who took him. And there were
yeah,
red flags that was sent to law enforcement to say, hey, this kid is troubled. He lives in the neighborhood. You guys really need to check him out. Nothing was taken seriously. Nothing was done. And now, Cash's parents have had to lay him to rest because it's not
yeah.
pretty and it's
No,
horrible.
it's a horrible case. And it's like I said, it's even though I knew there was missing people, and like I said, even bringing my daughter home there's a lot more we have to bring home. And it's
Yeah.
not over with just my daughter. And I'm being straight with all of you. It's not over. Because all the missing people now are considered missing in our family. Because
Exactly.
that's, we have to bring the rest of the family home. And once
Bring
everybody's
them
home,
all home.
yes, everyone has to come home. And that's the goal. It's not just my daughter. Now it's everybody. And this daddy doesn't end until it's over.
Right.
And so I've got a lot of work ahead of me. And, like I said, if it's, it's what was meant to be in my life, I'll take it on. Because
Right.
it's, maybe that was my calling. I gave my life to God back in 1983 when me and him got in an argument, and he proved me wrong, so I have to do his work.
Right. There you
And
go.
and we got in a big argument because he
Sometimes
made
it
me mad.
takes that swift kick in the butt to remind you and put you back in your place.
Yeah, I was 23 years old when he sat there and woke me up. And after that, it's even Etta would tell you, because I told her about the story where God told Daddy, right, that I exist, and he showed me he didn't move mountains and he didn't part seas. But I'll tell you what, when he put them clouds up there in that sky the way I told him to, and hundreds of them, I knew I had a problem
Mm-hmm.
because I knew I had to do what I'm supposed to do now.
Yep.
And it wasn't, like I said, did it wake me up? Yes. And I already know, someone created each and every one of us, each and every one of these people missing. I
Exactly.
already know this. And what are the odds are that two people, right, would ever meet, right, the male and the female, all that prior to them, right, that one egg would create one individual, okay? The odds are that individual was meant to be.
Exactly.
And the thing is, I said, if one thing changed, it would give a complete chain reaction to another thing, which would mean that everything would be totally in a different dimension than what you know it is, if it's even you. And I said, there's so much I've learned from the creation. I understand, right? You don't hurt birds because this is something my grandparents told me when I was a boy, and this is something that you should pay attention to, and it'll warn you, give you the warning. If birds leave an area and there's a storm coming in, a tornado or hurricane, if they leave, right, it's going to be very severe.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't leave, it's not going to be.
Right.
And the tornadoes up in Minnesota, right? We knew when the birds left the area, we had problem coming within minutes. Okay. In Florida, if the birds leave the area, I know the hurricane's going to be bad, but if they don't leave the area, I pretty much, tropical storm. Okay. And the birds will tell you what's going on if you pay attention to them, but most people don't pay attention to what's going on. Everything's been created, right, for a reason. And the birds will give you a sign that something's wrong because they don't want to be around when there's a tornado or a hurricane coming through. Not in Florida.
Exactly. The
Most
silence of
people don't.
nature.
Yeah. And nature will become silent.
Very
And
interesting.
that's what
Yes,
I
it
said.
is.
Yeah. But the thing is that, but we have my daughter, and we have, I think it's like 2.5 million people that are unaccounted for right now in America. Daddy's been doing his work.
It's
And
phenomenal. The numbers are insane. The numbers that go missing every day just will blow your mind. And these are the ones that are reported. You also have to keep in your mind that the numbers that you see, those are stats and numbers. And then you have to look that there's a whole nother series of numbers that are not reported missing.
they claim just the ones that are known is about 600,000 plus a day in America. Just I've already went through the stats, and them are cases that are nationwide of missing people. Majority of them are found within hours. Then you end up with some that it takes days, some few months, but then you get down to the 6% that fall into we don't know in something suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
You know it? Because it's
Yep.
above and beyond just missing. There's something not right. And that's usually where they end up in the human trafficking or
Yep.
deceased.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And when law enforcement doesn't help, and I'm speaking in this in general because from what I've understood is the detective has been phenomenal about helping with making sure we can get the billboards up. Bern does some amazing work. I had her billboard up a few minutes ago. I'll put that back up so everybody can see. If you see this billboard on the interstate, these flip. It only lasts for a couple of seconds, but those couple of seconds could be all that matters. These are
There
amazing.
it is.
These are
There it is.
amazing. They're a great
Yeah.
tool. Bern does
Yeah. And,
amazing work on getting these out.
and the detective's supporting that. He says, get them up.
Yes.
You know that?
And
He's
these are at
supporting
no
that.
cost to the family. If you're listening to the sound of my voice and you have a missing loved one, this does not cost the family anything. Us advocates and Vern and we all do this in the background. We make sure that these flips keep flipping until we can bring the missing home. Or
Yes.
until the family steps in and says, you know, hey, I really don't want this participated. I don't want to participate this anymore. Or we've even had families like Vladek's family that took it upon themselves. They have their own campaign now that they handle and they maintain and they keep flipping. So these are a great tool. These get put on the interstates and Vern tries to put them in hot spots where there's a lot of traffic or where that person could possibly be.
Yes. And the interstates is a excellent spot because it's the main transportation in and out of an area. And somebody that's connected to somebody always sees something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It'll take
You
one
never know.
person. Yeah.
That
Takes one.
one voice.
It could be a trucker that may have seen somebody, in another state or another location. You got a lot of people in transition, leaving states, coming to, Florida went from, in our area, we have something like 13 million people in Tampa and St. Pete area that are proud new movers in from the other part of the country.
Right.
And
And another good project, and you actually just triggered something in my brain that I had forgot about not forgot about, but I guess just moved to the back side of my brain is Monkey Michael Vaughn. His mom, Brandy, actually worked to have Can-Am is a semi company and they put missing people on their semi trailers. They are limited to Washington State, the business, but they travel all over the United States. And you'll see people in the groups that say, hey, I saw, a semi go by today with Monkey's face on the side of it. It's an amazing program. So there are programs out there that are at no cost to the family because there are good people that just want to help.
yes, and to put the missing on trucks that are traveling the highways of the United States, even if it's one truck, that truck's going to go from the East Coast to the West Coast and about everything in between, right?
Yep.
Or two trucks, and most trucking companies have more than 3, 4, 500 trucks, and they're always on the road. So that truck's constantly moving.
Yep.
And they got trailers that are thousands of trailers. So it's a way to get the information out there.
It's a great resource. It's an absolutely amazing resource. And I will reach out to her and see what the process is and see if I have to call Can-Am myself, and we'll see how their like waiting lists and stuff like that is about getting a missing person on one of their semi trailers. So that's another good resource.
Yes. And they're all for the good, they're trying to help find the people that are missing. It used to be on milk cartons years ago when they had milk cartons, they put people on them, and that was a free program for missing people.
Yep.
And
And now there's like one business that does plastic shopping bags.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the milk cartons.
Yeah, and that program was free. Anyone missing, right? They'd plaster it in that area, in that state, right? And you may go there and buy 4 gallons of milk and have 4 different people's faces on 4 different gallons. It wasn't always the same. And I mean, and that program was free, and then they got rid of the gallons of milk and the half gallons. They ought to bring the program back, and it would even help sell things because now it's a promotional besides it's an awareness. You know,
Right.
because every time you pick that gallon up, you see that face. Even putting it on packaging, a person's face of missing would make people aware. Advertisement, but these companies need to wake up and help support the missing, so it would actually help sales with companies. You're doing this to help find people. You're doing good. You know it. There is a lot more
Exactly.
good than there is evil. There's a lot more good than there is evil. It's just that, the evil people make it look worse. And it's like
Exactly.
I said, even with putting the flyers out, if people don't want to call the police department, they can contact any one of us on our social media pages and just leave a message.
That's all you have to
Stay
do.
anonymous. It's all you have to do is leave a message, and we'll respond and we'll take it from there. And because it's already, a lot of people may not feel comfortable with communicating to police, even trying to be discreet. But you can go through with us, and we'll be very discreet, and we'll get the information to the proper place, and we'll go from there. And
Exactly.
that's how, and that's, it's a simple program. Like I said, Daddy thinks outside the box, and trying to make it easy on everybody, because I understand a lot of people don't want, some of the crazy law enforcement in their area, and some of them ain't good, but you got some good officers out there, the sheriffs that are working with my case. They're awesome, and Dad ain't stopped looking, and if they got any good hits, they'd tell Dad, but I already know the one detective, he's doing his best and trying to come up with everything other than some dead ends. But any lead's a lead. If it's good or bad, it still was a lead. And but that's there's only so much he can do, because he's got to get some sleep also.
Exactly. These are humans as well. And like I said, the sad thing is when we come to this is a lot of these law enforcement they're underpaid, overworked, and shorthanded. And that's not making excuses for them. That's real talk.
Yeah.
And you
it's
have one
like I said,
detective that might have 50 cases, and he or she's trying to show attention to all these cases. That's why it's so important that you advocate the right way.
yes, because it's yeah, this detectives are, like I said, they, besides Etta, and he says he's never hit dead ends like he's hitting here, and that's very frustrating when you pretty much look at the facts that why are we hitting dead ends, because it just brings in more flags of what is wrong. You know that?
Mhm.
Because it's someone just doesn't disappear, and somebody knows something, but nobody's talking.
Right.
And and it's but somewhere down the line, it'll all come out. We already know that. It's just when.
And that's constantly I'm preaching. Everything that happens in the darkness, it will eventually come to light.
Yeah, I know that. Trust me. If that's a known fact, if it's it may not today, tomorrow, but I'll tell you what, when it does, you may figure, okay, I'm free and clear, and that's when your whole life goes in an uproar, because then it comes back to get you.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
that's a known fact. Anything evil comes to light, and it says that in the Bible.
Yep.
Yep.
This
So
is the projects, guys. This is the semi trucks. This is what they look like. This is monkeys. I just went and grabbed it real quick to kind of give an idea of what these look like. This
that's
is
the
what
truck.
they do. They put the big white and red and black information, red and white. Being in retail, they'll tell you that red and white's what catches your eye. So this is the colors that they use. I believe most of them are themed the same with the red writing on it. These are amazing to use, and I'll see if I can't reach out to some contacts and see what the process is to see if we can't possibly get a truck too. I don't know how long their waiting list is, but I'm the one. I love to make phone calls, so I will find out.
Yeah. Oh boy, if we go into to be put on a truck next. But no, they've red and whites in advertisement is eye catchers. They usually red, no matter what color they do it in. If you go down the street and you see a sign that's got some red in it, even if it's black or green the red catches your attention. Even with cars on the street, you'll look at a red car before you look at a green or a blue one, and that's a known fact. So they know what they're doing.
Yep. It's like marketing. When we did marketing, when you see like in retail, you have you're 25% off fall sale. Those signs are generally a white background with red writing, a black with red writing, because red. And they say that when we're born, in a lot of baby toys, especially my oldest son, when I was buying his baby toys, I would lean more towards red, white, and black toys because they say those are the first colors that our eyes actually pick up. So there's
Yes.
something that's ingrained in your brain to see red writing and be like, oh, wait a minute, I should pay attention to that. Maybe I should glance at that. So we'll do whatever we can to help. Karen says, I wish X, Twitter. I have issues with calling it X, y'all. Would consider missing program
so does
that would
Elon Musk.
insert. Yeah, I have a total issue with calling it X. And Elon Musk, me and him, he knows I harass him at least once a week for a 24-hour missing channel, stream, however he needs to do it. I know you
Yes.
have the satellite. We just need one.
Yes.
Just give us
We
one.
want to go. We want to go. That it's on every page, everywhere. One time for 24 hours. Give it to us.
Right, that's it. And I'm constantly, they'll tell you, the ones in my community that know I am big about Elon. If I see him posting on Twitter and it's not something that's completely goofy, I'll comment on the post. You watch, you'll see me. I'll comment on there. Hey, I'm the one, we could really use a missing channel. Can you work that out
Yes.
for us? I've been after him
Yeah.
for 2 years, so eventually I'll get a
Yeah.
response.
Let people post all the missing people on it, and it's just and Twitter needs to promote that we have a missing channel, that someone's missing. You can find these posts. Just go through it, and you may see somebody. They can post. But he is a good person, and sooner or later he'll give in.
Yep, he will eventually. He'll give me
Yeah.
my stream. Because, and there is a couple of channels that run constant missing people and constant cold cases. And generally
Yes.
when I'm in there, because a lot of times when I'm making flyers, I've got ADHD, so I have to have something playing in the background, whether it's a live or something like that. So I've got both my screens back up and running now. So I'll have one of them on one screen and I'll let that play. And, they just do like a short story about who the person is. And then you have a lot of really good channels like the Mob Crew. Big shout out to him, and Karen's in our chat. Karen's one of his amazing, beautiful mods, and he featured Etta. He features missing people at the beginning of his live, and he's kind of like I am. Like I said, I'm the missing, and they know that when we were messaging the other day, I'm sneaky. Like I might put a little hashtag in there or something, or might title a live and be like, hey, we're gonna have this really exciting live that's going to be eye-catching, and people are going to come in to see what we're talking about. But don't think for a second I'm not going to have my missing people mixed in that live somewhere. You're going to see their faces. You're going to hear their names, because that's why I'm here.
Yes.
So, yeah, we might be talking about one thing, and all of a sudden I pop up a video, or I bring up a flyer, or I start bringing up a name, or my Nightbot drops descriptions. My Nightbot randomly drops descriptions of missing people. And, that's because I don't have him turned on to block people or time people out or anything like that. He's literally just for information. And my girls know, and my guys, because I have a couple of male mods too, but they know how to use the Nightbot. And that's, that's something that I think is really important, is even though, we're sitting here, we're talking, we need a petition for Elon. There you go, the missing. I'm all about it. And Runaway Truth is amazing as well. She was in here earlier. I don't know if she had to pop out, but I appreciate everybody for coming in. Let's say it has a benefit platform, I think, even if it's just good PR. Right. And I know there's one creator that I know of on Twitter that runs, like, I think it's like commercial or Google ads with missing people. You guys can
Yes.
correct me in chat if I'm wrong, but I believe it's only just the one. It's Nerdy that does it.
Yes. But even with you take 5 people and then they put it out on theirs, and that's another 5 and another 5, and before you know it, you've hit 5 million, 100 million people with awareness.
Yeah, and Nerdy.
And
I think Nerdy's the only one. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And he has a huge reach. I thought it was just Nerdy. There might be a couple others, but not anybody that I have it on my feed that comes up. But I know Nerdy is. I think it started like a year ago, roughly, guys. You have to forgive me for numbers and dates and things like that, because if it's not right in front of me on my notes, then I'm liable to speak off just a little bit. But I know he did start that. And that's a great resource as well, where he's running the ad revenue with the missing posters, and he has a form that you can fill out. Like because a lot of times, guys, I always say that these parents sometimes are better than an FBI agent. But the sad part of it is these parents should not have to be their own detectives. But I'll get pictures of pieces of notebook paper written with Sharpie on them and a picture taped to the notebook paper, because all they want is their kid's face out there, a phone number out there, a way to contact family, because like I said, if you don't feel comfortable contacting law enforcement, there are 14 people in this chat. 5 of them I know will accept your message. 6 of them, 7, however many that's in here, the handful I'm not going to go through chat and count everybody, but you know who you are. You reach out to one of us.
yes,
You don't have to show your face. You don't have to give me your phone number. You got credible information, just give me that.
yes,
And that's all we ask.
yes. And it's like I said, just think that everyone's got social media pages, so within minutes we could reach out and get the information out about everything, right?
Mhm.
On
Exactly.
everyone, just from communicating with each other.
Exactly. Networking is key in these cases.
Yes.
Networking is key. And it's like, Legacy is a big advocate that's on Twitter. And I know she's grabbed a hold of Etta's case, and we kind of talk back and forth like publicly on Twitter. She's going to reach out to some big medias. And like
Yes.
Dateline NBC has a missing series, News Nation has a missing series that they've started in the past few years. And a lot
Yes.
of these big media channels, they started these missing series that they run because of Gabby, and the Gabby Petito Foundation is amazing. They do phenomenal work. So,
Yeah.
even though it's so sad and my heart goes out to that family, and I
And
ended up meeting her brother, getting a hug, and cried like a baby, but they've done amazing
me and
work.
Gabby's page communicate back and forth, and we follow each other. So there's them are good people. Them are good people, and they are for the awareness of missing people and exploited people.
Yep.
It matters to that family.
There go
And-
Fox News. There's another one
Yes.
that the missing. Y'all catch me. Y'all get me in chat. That's why y'all are here
Yes.
too. We're all one big
Yes.
family.
The missing is we're all a family, and I've met some very beautiful souls and people in this goal of finding my daughter. And
Mhm.
there's more people, that are in the same situation than you really dream of. You figure, okay, there's a few. No, there's, like I said, there's in America, there's 2.5 million people, and you figure 600,000 a day come up missing is scary. Them numbers are scary,
Right.
and
It's
in
terrifying.
in cold cases in America is over 28 million people that are cold cases that have not been
Yep.
found.
It's insane how many cold cases we have. It's absolutely
We're
phenomenal.
talking millions. And, because even with one, they pulled a body up out of New York, right? That was put in the river in New York, back in 70s. And, the guy sitting there talking, I drove the car in the water. Well, lock his friggin' rear end up, right? But if you knew about it, you still had something to do with the crime.
Yep. They've got to be held accountable and stop letting these monsters out of jail. I'm not going to get on my soapbox on this live, but beware, there may be a live later on tonight. I may be on my soapbox, but stop letting these monsters out of jail. Stop doing it.
Yes.
Stop. If you know
Yes.
that they're a monster, you know they have a history, keep their hind ends behind. We pay taxes.
Yes.
We all pay taxes. Keep their hind ends where they belong. And Karen,
Yes.
this breaks my heart. Karen says Sunshine has helped make a poster for Christopher Avery in July and had his sister Jasmine on the live. And I had my other stream open, my other OBS open, and the audio was horrible, but it was an amazing live. She ended up coming up
Yes.
speaking. We put out awareness. We got some great people involved, and he was 28 and a dad. And yes, sadly, he was found deceased 3 weeks later, but Jasmine was able to bring him home and have that closure and give him a proper burial. So even if the ending doesn't come out where we're giving hugs to that missing
Yes.
person, the family
Yes.
still gets what they need, which is closure, which is so important.
Yes. And that's what, even with me, it's a closure. And Daddy's goal is to bring her home alive, but it's
Mm-hmm.
knowing what happened to my daughter is what I need to know.
Exactly.
And if she's no longer with us, we need the results of who is liable and responsible
Exactly.
for what happened.
She needs
But
to be laid to rest, and accountability needs to be held if she's not with
yes.
us any longer. And that's
Yes.
the important part, is bringing her home one way or the other, preferably alive and well
Alive.
and good.
Yes.
But either way, home is in game.
Yes. And that's and I haven't cried yet for my daughter. It's not time to, because when I cry, I pretty much have closure.
Right.
And until then, they got this daddy worked up, and this dad's moving forward. And like I said,
That's it.
even after the results of my daughter, we're going and we're getting results for the rest of the people.
Exactly.
So
And that's where
Yeah.
we never give up. We never give up.
No.
We're going to bring them home and bring Etta home. I love this hashtag. Thank you, FarQ. I love it. It's amazing. You guys know my hashtag that I love to use is bring them all home, because
Yes.
all missing people matter. Don't matter what your age, demographic preferences, any of that is. That is someone. That's someone's
Yes.
daughter, son, father. That's someone's family that needs them home one way or the other.
Yes. And like I said, it's the closure, whichever way it is, but that's what's needed.
Exactly.
And it's and even after my daughter, it ain't over. Even if I find somebody in the process of finding my daughter, it doesn't mean I've won, because there's still more out there. All they did was waken me up. You know it?
Yep.
And
We build an army. That's what we do.
yeah, and create an army to find the missing. They're all our
Exactly.
family.
Exactly. How I got brought into the community was Summer Wells case out of Tennessee. And I've told my story, and I'm not going to get into that story. But then I had a friend reach out to me and was like, hey, sends me a piece of notebook paper literally with a photo taped to it. Mom had took a Sharpie marker and made a poster for her daughter. Well, that simply was not going to work for me. So I made her a real flyer, got that out, got in contact with law enforcement. Actually ended up being able to direct law enforcement. They were able to find her within 2 days.
And
So
that
that's why
case
we
there
never
was,
give up.
and that was a crazy case. You know that?
Yeah, her case is insane.
Oh, I know.
That case is all over the place.
Yeah. And it was,
And that's
that one there irritated me.
and just get me started on that. Get on my soapbox.
Yeah.
That's why I preach and scream at the mountaintops. Advocate responsibly. If you're going to true crime responsibly. Do not victimize. Do not victimize families. Do not bash families. That is not what we're about over here. And we will not tolerate it.
No.
And that's it right there. We are the army for the missing. We are the voice for the voiceless.
Yes.
And that does not mean that Etta doesn't have a voice. That means that we don't hear her voice. So we are her voice until her daddy can hear her voice himself.
Yes. And it's like I said, it's my dream is to bring her home, and I'm going to see my dream come true.
Exactly.
And that's, and that's my goal, and that's what I'm going to do. So, it's this ain't over, and like I said, it ain't over when I do bring her home. But
Exactly.
It's already been over a year, and they say that time helps, but in this case, time doesn't help, because the longer the odds of not finding her, the worse the results are.
Right.
So,
And we've seen cases that are 30, 40 years old where, somebody's in Walmart and they're 4 or 5 states away from where they come up missing, and somebody's like, "Hey, I remember that face. I know your
yes,
face." And these, so that's why we never give up, and we continue to share, and we recirculate. And like, if you're not a part of it and you have a social media, and I know if you're in this chat, you have some kind of social media, Missing Mondays is a great tool. Grab a missing flyer, grab 10 missing
yes,
flyers, share that person's
yes,
face on Missing Monday,
yes.
because a lot
I
of
put
law
'em-
enforcement they
I
do
put
participate in Missing Flyer Monday as well.
I put flyers in laundromats. I put them in stores, on the billboards. Everywhere. Flyers can go anywhere. You put them.
Exactly.
You know, and in laundromats, people go in there. Just because it's not out on the pole. Otherwise, somebody's in there. They're going to look at what's up on the laundromat billboard, and it's going
Exactly.
to catch their attention.
And you never
In a
know if you're
store,
looking
you
for a
see
job
something
or
hanging.
what.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but on a billboard, even in stores, some of the stores have the little billboard. You hang it up there for a yard sale, or I'm selling my couch, or right. You hang a missing
Right.
person up there. That gets just as much of attention, if not more, because they see the colors and the missing, and that brings attention. And the store ain't going to take it down, because when they take it down, they're against finding missing people, and they don't want that image.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And Thor says he spoke with the sheriff up where he is today, and they are aware and are the highway patrols. That's awesome. That makes my heart smile. That's great. That's what we want. We want networking.
Yes,
We want her face and her name spread as far as wide as we can go. And
yes,
it doesn't matter what country you're in. Because
yes,
if there is a potential that she was trafficked, she could be anywhere in this world.
yes. Canada, Mexico, anywhere.
Yep.
She's her mother was Spanish, and her dad's pretty much me. And the even though the mother's around, I don't directly communicate with her, and it's not that I don't love her. I had to have loved her somewhere in my life. I have 2 children with her.
Right.
Okay, and I don't bash mom. She was good enough to have my children, so but our lives are totally different. The way we think is totally different, and I raised the children without her. So yes, the mother does care, but in her own way, because I don't physically or even verbally talk to the mother. So, but does the mother and that side of the family care? Yes, and it's that's the real about it. But where was the mother in her life? No. But it still doesn't mean you don't care about a child that you've had, even as a male or a female. That's still your child.
Exactly.
So
Everybody has their own demons. And if you don't think you have your own demons, you need to sit down and turn the light off, close your eyes, and think and look inside yourself, because we all have our own demons.
yes,
Everybody's just trying to make their own. Many missing people are found in Bancourt up here in Maine. And Maine, New Hampshire, the whole New England area, that area has a lot of missing people. And we have people that walk into parks and disappear up there.
yes, and they have been for years.
Yep. And that's all across the United States. There's a couple of states, Washington, Oregon. There's a lot of them that are known for phenomenal numbers, and Florida being one, California. Just the numbers it's
The Smoky
insane.
Mountains, people disappear in the Smoky Mountains into
Hmm.
cults and groups and whatever they are, and you'll never
Yep.
see them again. They got people that have been up there that pretty much were born and raised up there and have never seen captivity. And that's right here in America.
And that's in the Appalachians.
Yes.
Appalachians. I mean, Among the Missing is a huge missing channel. I actually reached out to him about Etta's case to see if I can get him to cover her case. And
Yes.
he is a massive channel, and that's all he does is missing. And he does unexplained missing. He does current missing. He does cases from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. His name's Steve Stockton, and he does some amazing, amazing work, guys. And if you catch a live, like you'll be amazed at the research that he does. And he actually has 5 books that he's written. I have pre-release copies of all 5 of them that are about missing cases, mysterious, unsolved. You know, it's insane. Yeah, New Hampshire, exactly, like Harmony.
Yes.
Harmony Montgomery. That's another case. She, her monster and her story. And she's, New Hampshire baby that has ties to Florida and the New England area. And it's just insane how we all kind of can come together, and you feel that bond, and you see those little signs that are like, oh, wait a minute. She was in Florida?
Yeah.
And then you start looking and you're like, oh, wow. And she was missing for 2 years? Because that's what I was saying about unreported cases. Because sometimes it takes that one family member. If you haven't seen a child that has been with those parents, they're, I'm not saying they're evil people, but there's a potential that something's wrong.
Yes.
Karen, you're not a mod, honey. If you'll tell me whose channel you want to drop, I'll drop their link if I don't already have them in my Nightbot.
But it's but yeah, there's trying to find them is the thing, and most of them, if they're not gone, they're off in the trafficking business, and it could take years to get them out of it if we can find out where.
Among the Missing, Karen?
Yeah.
If it was Among the Missing, then yes, I will definitely drop his link. Can someone drop that channel link? I misread what you said. And Thor, thank you so much. I want to read this before I forget about it and switch off screens to go grab Among the Missing's link. He said, I will email you when I get home from work today, Mom. My daughter and her friends are ready and willing to put up missing paper down in Orlando and Jacksonville. Perfect. If I will give you a way, when you email me, I'll give you a way she can come meet me, and we'll get her some flyers. That is great. Thank you so much. And yes, the big YouTuber, that's Among the Missing. I'll grab his link real quick. Thank you guys all for being here and hanging out with us and listening to Anthony and listen about Etta's story and the other missing. It's so important for you guys to be here. I appreciate you so much.
Thank every one of you. I appreciate for all the timeliness and the awareness. It takes more than one of us to get this out, and there's more than one of us that are concerned to find the missing. And that's why we're here.
This is Steve's link that I'm going to drop. This is Among the Missing. I'm also going to drop True Crime Web. That is another one of my Steve's. Steve, True Crime Web is amazing. He is a retired GBI out of Georgia. He's a really good friend of mine. So I'm also in touch with him to see if I can get him as well to cover Etta's case. And like I said, the mob crew works with Steve in the back. They work a lot hand in hand, boots on the ground. They're actually went and searched for Dior that's been missing. Yeah. So definitely, if you guys are not subbed up to these channels, sub up to these channels. There may be a face on there that's in your area.
Yeah.
Some phenomenal work. Let's see. FarQ says, thank you for doing this. Thank you, Anthony, for sharing and trusting Mom with your baby. And I appreciate that so much. It means a lot to me. And like I said, I hold my credibility dear to my heart. And once I bond with these families and bond with these babies, they're my family, and I don't give up very easily. This is the end games. Bring them all home.
Yes. Every one of them.
Exactly. Well, Anthony, you were amazing. Thank you so much for coming on panel. I'm going to go grab dinner, and I thank everybody for being here. And we'll do this again. Like I said, you message me anytime, and we'll get another live, and we'll hook
Yes.
it up anytime you're ready, and we'll
And
talk about Etta
I'll get
and
I'll get you
share
that
any information.
get you that information. I got to get Vern the information and the missing the information. You know,
Okay.
all my tight links, and can go over it and see if you can spot something. But like I said, I had to go through and dissect everything that I received from this person. But the person that sent it to me, she said, "Hey, I do have something that may be of interest, and here's the conversations, right?" And
Mm-hmm.
even though that page was deleted completely, right?
Right.
You can delete your page, but if the people don't delete the messages that were on that page, they're always on that messenger as long as they're left there.
Yep.
So, and that there could be a link, or maybe somebody could see something that that's something people weren't aware of with social media. Somebody could be on your page, and and blocked, and I already learned how to go in, and if say you block somebody and I want to track somebody, and I knew you were connected with them, I can go in and see the likes and all them on your social media page, and I can track that person down just going through
Mm-hmm.
the likes and link myself right to that person. I've learned that. That's how much this dad's learned, and I'm not a technical genius. I can build
Right.
houses, cars, everything else. Okay, raise children. But I learned that social media, even with you blocking somebody, as long as they're in them likes, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
like something, I can track them.
Yep.
And yeah, this dad's learned a lot. That's how I've tracked a lot of her old friends, and learning the system. And the system does work if you know how to use it. That's what investigators do, is go through and track the same way. They call them trackers. They're skip
Exactly.
tracers. And they
Just
track,
because you
they
think
can,
you've deleted it, it's not gone if you put it on the internet.
yeah,
Just FYI. Post
everyone,
responsibly.
everyone leaves a trail.
Yep.
And
Back in the
if
day, we
it's like,
called it a paper trail. Now it's like
yeah,
a snail trail that follows you. It's sticky
yeah,
and it stays there.
yeah, but it's somehow you can keep track of people with, you know, without even them knowing it, because you know how to find them.
Mm-hmm.
And, I helped get a woman out of the human trafficking years back. And the thing is, I was able to track everything going on, right? Even though she blocked him because he was coming in under alias names, but I tracked all the alias names back to him again. And it was just from learning how to track the system. And, you know, she is, she's a mess, but she's still a good woman, a good parent. She went through hell, but at least she's got her life back, and the evil one is gone. But that's where I found out that there was Clearwater police involved in the same, in her case, but they were behind the scenes. So if you went to the police, the police were aware that you were onto something, and then something else would happen. So,
Right.
that's, I learned all that just off of one person years ago, that you got to trust the right people, not the wrong people.
Exactly. Exactly. Be careful who you trust. Be
Yeah.
careful who you trust, and be careful who you give your personal information to, and always protect yourself anytime you're on social media. Always remember to protect yourself and protect your own before anyone else.
Yes. But I learned a lot, by helping somebody, and now I'm looking for my own daughter that's in the, possibly the trafficking business. So,
Mm-hmm.
will I get results? We'll find her.
We will. We'll find her.
Yeah.
We're not going to give up.
No. It's
We're not going to
bad.
give up.
So I gotta let you go. You gotta have dinner.
Yep. Thank you, Anthony, so much for coming in. Much love. And like I said, I'm here anytime. You've got my cell phone number. If I don't answer, shoot me a text, leave me a voicemail, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And that's, you know, the missing, any of my advocates, you guys all have my number. I'm easy to find. Nightbot drops my email. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Mind of Monsters. Drop a comment on a video. I check all my comments. I respond to all my comments because you never know who's going to comment on a video. So, you know, I've actually had leads that have come from comments on videos. So definitely don't ever hesitate to reach out. Anthony, much love. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank everybody. It was good to see the response and read the comments, and I'll go back through all the comments again tonight, and I'll send a message and send my love to you and your families and to the other ones missing.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Have a
Thank
good
you
night.
so
Be
much.
safe and take care of the new kitty.
I will. And
All
Kitty's
right.
fine. She's sleeping.
Oh, see that the life of a cat, man.
Yeah, I
The
know.
life of a cat.
Hey, Kitty will eat everything except French fries. She's and loves cheesecake, Danish.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
well, that's
I
why
can't
she
say I
weighs so
have a
much.
pit bull that likes Cheetos. So I get
Well,
it.
she eats Fritos, Cheetos, pretzels, whatever it is, but she won't do French fries. So,
Oh, not a French fry
yeah,
girl.
yeah. Well, she does onion rings, so I have no
Well,
idea
hey,
what's wrong with her French fry.
I love onion rings. I can't say anything there.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here, Anthony. I'm going to go ahead and I'll say goodbye to everybody, put up my end screen and pull up the last few comments. Thank you so much for being here and sending love and light. And if you need me, hit me up. Don't hesitate. You know, any time,
Yes.
day or night, just let me know.
Yes. Thank you very much, everyone.
You're welcome.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Please, as always, make sure that you hit that like button. It's free. Hit that share button so we can get this video out there. If you enjoyed tonight's show, honestly know that we do a lot for the missing here at Mind of Monsters. I have a great community. If you have a missing loved one, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I can be found on all social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Like I said, comment on a video. Please don't hesitate. If you know something and you don't feel comfortable contacting law enforcement, contact one of us. We will get the information to the appropriate. If you see Etta, no matter where you are, if you're in the United States, call 911. 911 will get your information to the appropriate law enforcement. Keep your eyes out for the billboards that are going to go up because Vern's amazing. We're going to work in the background on getting some more advocacy and some more lanes of advocacy up for Etta. And as always, guys, you mean the world to me. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday afternoon with me. And remember, if you see something, say something. It takes a village to raise a child. Never give up. And you're not alone. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Guys mean the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. And thank you, everybody, for sharing and caring.